Here we go. Just for.
You had to break up with an ex partially due to his lack of Star Wars. Oh man.
But
that's.
Oh man.
That's not till the sequel. We're not gonna spoil that in the first one. All right.
Yeah. All right. Here, hold on a second. So.
How many people have seen Star Wars?
Ba, 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 ba. Oh no, I was ready. Yeah. Da, ba, 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 ba. Hi guys. Here we are.
Oh, nice background. Oh, you were like waiting to surprise me with that one.
Oh yeah, a little Struzen. Wait, I actually that might not be Struzen. I don't know who that is.
I don't think that is
That's
Struzen.
not Struzen. It's not, yeah.
But that's. I remember seeing that. That was the first time before I'd ever seen Star Wars. I'd seen that poster.
Yeah.
Being like, what?
That
is
poster
that?
is because Luke is like ripped in that poster, and Leia looks kind of like Leia, I guess.
It's a total misrepresentation of what. It just makes it. Well, it makes it look like a space opera. I mean, let's call it what it is.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. John Williams, who? John Williams. Williams is his last name. No, you got it. Hey guys, welcome to Filmography episode. I don't know. Oh gosh, darn it.
15.
I think
16.
I think it's like 17.
17.
I don't know. It might be as much as we got to change this because now. See what I did? Do you know who I am? See what I did? It's called that's the title of the stream because it was Beyond Two Souls and it was on the page, so I called it "Do You Know Who I Am?" I thought of it in a second and a half.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I regret it. Filmography.
What was that other movie she was in where she was like 12 years old, but she like killed or tortured? Hard Candy?
Oh yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Hard Candy.
Or Candy or something
Yeah,
like that?
it's got a twist at the end that like 45 minutes before as it's going into the. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't bad, but like
no, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, but like the last 20 minutes or whatever is supposed to be, and something at the beginning I was like, I think it's this.
What was the twist? Should we not say on
I
here?
guess I don't know, but it's.
I remember it getting crazy.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the twist was though. But she must have been over 18, right?
Yeah.
Because of what's going on in that.
Right.
But she looked so young, and that was the first time I'd ever seen her. And I genuinely, for the first half of that movie, I was like, "Is that a boy?"
Oh, really?
And not in a bad way. I was just like, "Is that a boy?"
Yeah. Use the false, Hattie. Yeah, right. No, don't do that thing. Please don't do that thing. Spoilers,
Dude.
Luke mouth kisses his sister.
And then he leans back real satisfied.
I did a good thing. No way that's going to backfire.
Because based off that look and the way he leans back, he's like presenting his boner to Han Solo, which means he got a boner because his sister kissed him. And they just gloss right over that bad boy.
Yeah. Yeah, that really is kind of like it's a weird thing in it, but I don't know. Yeah, they act like it
No, you can't.
But nobody knew.
And I like I like that it just didn't, because that must have come up in conversations when they're passing around ideas for Jedi, where they're like, well, that's an interesting idea, George. But they mouth kissed each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah.
But it's cool though. Yeah, I feel like and also like the first time he sees her, he's just like, dang.
Oh yeah.
Like she shows up in the recording, he's like, who's that? She's beautiful.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to. And you're like, and you're just like, man, it's too bad. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic for the first time. You can't even play it off like, oh, we went through an intense situation and like feelings developed and like it was because like familial closeness and then like we mistook it because we didn't. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense because that's what I feel for you. It's like no, he was like, yo,
put yourself in a metal bikini.
Boom.
Immediately.
Yeah, and then let me just I'll get an Allen wrench and we'll just. I don't know what that means.
I also have a huge slug fetish, so this whole Jabba combo is really doing it for me.
Work it out. What if they were siblings that kiss? George, please, not this again. Now, hang on. You didn't let me do this in American Graffiti. You didn't let me do it in THX. We were doing it here. You're doing it. I heard Star Wars when Spock screams Khan and destroys Lord Voldemort. Yeah,
Yep.
Voldemort. That sounds like a good one.
Yep.
I haven't seen that one. That sounds like a good one. it does make it more fun. Was Star Wars divisive back when it was released in the
They're playing to their fan base.
Yeah, the Marquis.
Give them what they want.
The Marquis de Sade was very critical of it in the 13th century. Hey, so here, first of all, we're coming to the end of an era. And we're not. Well, we are literally.
Yeah.
The new Hollywood era, right? Like, so this whole thing that we've talked about, and we talked about it a bit last week with Jaws. This whole thing, right? This whole new Hollywood revolution movement where the studios started giving freedom to young directors and we're like, blah, 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 blah. It kind of came... These were the kind of the first, shots across its starboard bow.
Yeah.
What the crap am I saying?
I don't. You bring a lot of nautical terms in here.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but anyway,
They were.
I like the cut of his jib. And
Yeah.
Lucas's jib. No, no, but like, these are the first kind of like blows against the thing because they're like, hey,
You can't stop yourself from using terminology.
look. I think that
You're looking for after. I don't know.
exactly. I feel like Hollywood, the studios were in search of that white whale, that son of a bitch. No, yeah, like, but it was like, oh, this is a new model because we got a crazy like. With Jaws, they had this crazy, very high concept story that you can describe in a sentence and people get it, and it's kind of a big slam bang adventure thing that there's character there, but it's mostly pow pow pow, and they marketed it, they knew how to market it, and it paid off hugely, even though it looked like it was going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
Same thing with Star Wars, 40 times over. I mean,
40 times over. In terms of like box office return, but also, and this is the big thing, and this is one of the things that I want to talk about at length, and also something that I'm going to bring in, like, because I grew up, I was a huge Star Wars nerd growing up. I had all the toys, had all the books, like, I lived and breathed it. I loved it.
That's true, MM7.
And it was great. And one of the reasons it affected my childhood so much is like I had all the toys, And this is one of the big things that it kind of separates it from Jaws, because Jaws was like this. Oh, you can make a ton of money with one movie.
Yeah.
Then Star Wars was like, oh, you can make a ton of money with one movie, even more money, and also on top of that, you can make an absolutely bonkers amount of money with merchandise, and toys and everything. And that is honestly, and I think it's why it's appropriate that we're ending it with this movie, because this was the one that was like, oh, now we're not only going to think about movies in terms of like what's the most marketable concept story-wise, but what is marketable to kids.
Absolutely. And what is I mean, it's it's becoming more of a product than ever.
Yes.
I mean, it's because how do we like what is this? What is the product, and then what are the ancillary money making?
Yes.
Slap it on a.
How can we slap it on a pencil box? Yes.
Because that is by far, if you look it up, that is the top selling Star Wars product is pencil boxes.
Yeah.
I don't know why that popped into my head, but sure. Yeah. Eat it, Lisa Frank. Here comes Star Wars. Lisa Frank, do you know who that is?
That's the one with like the Technicolor zebras. And,
good. I'm glad. I make that.
I get it.
Occasionally, once every 3 years, I make a Lisa Frank reference, and and then I immediately go, "No one got that. No one got that." Right.
What kind of binder did you have growing up? I had the one that you could write on. Like you could just write on, write on the cover and stuff,
and then wipe it off.
And some of my brother's older friends were into Matchbox 20 at the time, so I wrote Matchbox 20 on my binder to be cool.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
I remember when Matchbox 20 came out, and I was like, I was in a Borders Movies and Music, which doesn't exist
anymore.
Yeah. It was right next to Blockbuster and the printing press, and I went. They put BB-8 on the bag of oranges. It's like he's around, whatever. I bet they didn't even think that much about it. They were like, "What is it? A thing?" Yeah, they'll buy it. They'll buy more of his BB-8s on it. Yeah, Matchbox 20. I remember finding them and going like, "Who's this?" And I listened to them. And I was like, "Oh, this is a good band."
Yeah.
And then
they're gonna go places.
And I'd never heard of it. And then right before, and then we were going down to Costa Rica to visit, and I bought a CD and gave it to my friend, and he played it constantly while I was there. Mm-hmm. And then I got sick of it. and then I came back to the United States, and they were big. They just gotten big. So I was into Matchbox 20 before they were
this whole
big.
story is to show that you were into Matchbox before they were huge.
Good gravy. Good gravy.
What was their song? What was their big song?
It's been a long day. Or I wanna push you around. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. I'm like, well, you're a jerk. I'm a Matchbox 20 hipster. There aren't many of us left. Thank you so much, Sword Chunk and Good Gravy, for another gifted freaking sub to Art of Lek. Welcome, my friend, back to the Lobrocore.
Lobrocore.
That's it. Hey, don't look. We can. You can just let it happen. You don't have to point out that. Lisa
Tell
Frank,
me
Matchbox
more.
20 Lobrocore. Wow.
Wait, what do they say in Starship Troopers? The more you know. Or
do you want to know more?
Do you want to know more? We need to do Starship Troopers.
Oh boy, Starship Troopers is amazing. Starship Troopers is.
That's Verhoeven, right?
Oh yeah. It's every.
We went and saw Verhoeven's Fourth Man.
It's great.
In the theater at like one of our art house theaters here in Austin, and it was my first time seeing it. And you had already seen it before.
I'd seen it, but I didn't remember.
Oh man, it was fantastic! It was so good.
It's also insane.
It's insane.
It's so much fun though.
Yeah,
and great.
If you've never seen it, seek it out. I think it's actually pretty hard, I guess, to find. But if you can find it online or something, watch it. It's fun.
You know, I was into Matchbox 20.
You are very.
I was into Matchbox 20.
You're in all the elite groups.
Lisa Frank, Matchbox 20, this Dutch movie no one cares about. But does it have triple T? Well, yeah, so it's kind of like he sneaks those into every single one of his movies. It's kind of like it's like an Easter egg. You have to find the woman with more breasts than normal women have.
It's like, why have two when you can have three?
Yeah, it's true. Sure. That's not true. It does not, and that does not happen. To my knowledge, there's only one Paul Verhoeven film with a three-breasted alien hooker in it. And that, of course, is Black Book. No. His name escaped. Jeff! His name is Jeff!
Hello!
Yeah. I feel like that's putting the spot. But this is like a new look.
It's a lazy look.
I dig it.
I've been editing about nonstop for the past month and a half, and I had this in my, because I had this is a Brooklyn Dodgers hat, and I had this as a kid, and I was like, I just need to get back into wearing hats because I'm tired of doing my hair and whatnot. And,
is that not a Red Sox cap?
I know it looks like one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I have it in my mind. I can't remember what it was, and so I just researched it and I bought it. And yeah, I'm a hat guy now.
Yeah, it's fucking Jeff. That's his name.
Yeah,
it's fucking Jeff. Well, I'm just saying, like with the coat and stuff. I was like, it looks like you've been tapped to direct a sequel to The Town.
Yeah, well, that's what I want.
Which is a cool
I
thing.
told you I was basing it off of Jimmy Fallon and Fever Pitch.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Which I don't mean. I'm just like, oh, it's cool. I wish I could. I can't. I'm not.
Hats make everything so much more simple.
Yeah. I used to wear hats constantly.
Like, you should get back in it, man. Let's become hat guys.
All right. Hold on, I got it.
You got a hat in here?
I got a hat somewhere.
Pop a hat on. I wish it was just a big cowboy hat. Oh, nice.
Hold on.
Oh, I hope this is just a whole bit that you have.
I'm just ready.
It is. It's just a bit that you're doing.
Well, we're doing Star Wars. I didn't realize I have a lot of hats, but none that would make me a normal human being.
It's exactly what I was hoping for. There's not a normal hat in the bunch.
Hats are great. Saved me a lot of time when I went to classes in college. Yeah, man.
It's just easy.
Did I miss the Star Wars filmography? No, you didn't.
It
hasn't happened.
Yeah, it hasn't happened.
We talked about hats a lot. We talked about Paul Verhoeven. We talked about Lisa Frank, as we do every time. So yeah. So right, big huge deal in terms of box office.
Yeah.
Big huge revolutionary deal in terms of merchandising.
Yeah.
And Lucas, had the foresight to be like, give me a piece of the merchandising.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
And that's essentially
like,
that's
all right,
what gave him
weirdo.
all that money.
I know.
I mean, it is insane because he had like a crazy amount over it, like 40%, something astronomical.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us, but they do a whole episode on the Star Wars, the first Star Wars figures that were made. And It's fascinating, and it's a fascinating story in and of itself. Also, that's just have you really not watched it?
I haven't.
It is
I know
made for you.
I know. I've had like 3 or 4 people just.
Oh, just there's like I think 8 episodes for 2 seasons.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's great, dude. Even the ones that you would be like, I'm not into that. Be like, no, you'll.
Because it's fascinating because they talk about the production of those toys.
Yeah, like they do Legos, they do Transformers, He-Man, and then like what's the Asian one? Hello Kitty. Even the Hello Kitty one, which I was like,
Yeah.
But it was super fascinating.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's just interesting to see how things take off and what becomes a pop culture phenomenon, you know?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's the history of how it became popular.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Don't let you. I don't care about it. I don't. This is like I don't. Yeah. I mean, I'm essentially wearing a hat because I just wake up and the toy that made us is awesome. The toys that made us is awesome. Yeah. I think meant the toy that Richard Pryor movie. All right. Okay. So into the fold comes Star Wars. Blows everyone away. Yeah, like someone mentioned. Yeah, like Lucas wasn't. No one was assured that it was going to be a hit. Like
I mean, most people thought it was going to be a ginormous flop.
Yeah, every studio passed on it besides Fox.
Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola is one of the few people that actually really believed in getting it made.
Yeah.
Like on a script level.
Yeah.
Like before they had any visuals or anything, he was just like, I believe in George.
Yeah.
He's got this thing. I think it's an interesting angle that'll do something that none of us are doing here in San Francisco. Because he's talking about, you know, when Zoetrope was still his company was still in formation.
Right.
And he even pitched it to, he was part of a company called the Directors Company, and it was Francis Ford Coppola, Friedkin, and 2 other people, and Friedkin in particular, in his biography, he was just like, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I told him, definitely don't do it. He's like, I think it's a terrible idea.
Yeah. And it was very, no one really took it seriously. People were passing around scripts and shit. Yeah, absolutely. Even the crew was like, what? Yeah, like, I mean, I think people, because I was reading a thing today that made a good point. I mean, it is, and as we've seen, like, you think about this in relation, I mean, in comparison to the movies that we've been watching, right? The movies we're talking about, like The Godfather, 5 Easy Pieces, Easy Rider, like even to a lesser extent, but even Jaws, because this and Jaws are vastly different things.
Oh yeah,
like it's like
just in terms of size.
Yeah, the way he writes is not the way people speak. Yeah, absolutely, but it is sort of like a throwback to like these sort of like old school adventure kind of things. But films like he was inspired by like pirate movies and westerns and stuff. I mean, it's in some ways it's like a kind of like a space western mixed with like a fantasy. I mean, it's more like a fantasy than it is like a true sci-fi film. Just in terms of the elements at play. And I mean, I don't know. I guess there could be arguments against that.
I agree with that though. I feel like he is just like after like with American Graffiti and then this. He was just trying to go, and then Indiana Jones. Yeah. He was like, there's something, and this was like he was doing this, tapping into that nostalgia thing before it's like now it's just commonplace, but
and a lot of it is due to
and we're doing it right now.
and we're yes, and they're nostalgically. A lot of people are nostalgic for Star Wars, and people are thinking so are banking on that specifically. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But I think he framed a lot of his. I think he did it on a more personal level, where he's like, these are the things that I grew up loving.
Yeah.
And I think that's why his best stuff are the things that he personally invested a lot of time. Like you can just see his childhood and things in there, and his influences, and it's basically Flash Gordon meets Hidden Fortress. That's a very valid point because he was also highly influenced by Akira Kurosawa and all his films, and he wanted to do. I think isn't Star Wars like loosely based off Hidden Fortress entirely?
I mean, I feel like I've seen 1-to-1 comparisons, and
it's like verbatim,
even down to like this character kind of looks like this, and this character.
And
that's
especially at that time, is very commonplace. And
that's what art. Yeah. Classic Roman movies? That's interesting. Roman? That's interesting. Please feel free to elaborate. I don't know that I know. But yeah, but if you think about what Star Wars is, and you think of it compared to The French Connection or The Exorcist or I mean Dog Day Afternoon, stuff like there just was this very kind of realistic, kind of gritty, very personal, small, indie, a lot of crime, a lot of like kind of looking at the government in a different way, the Deer Hunter stuff, like where it's like, hey, we're dealing with real stuff and the real world, and it's not always pretty, and we're just and we're gonna say these things that are bold and controversial, and it's not gonna be all gussied up and polished. And in comes Star Wars. So it makes sense that someone like William Friedkin would be like, "No way, man!
Oh, absolutely.
This is not the the movement. This is not the thing that we're doing.
It's not the movement." And that's what it was. Is because I mean, up to through the '60s, it was big studio productions. It was lighter fluff, lighter fare. And then when the new Hollywood movement came in, it pushed so far into it was like, no, we have to be different. We have to do real, raw storytelling.
Yeah.
And that's what that movement was all about. And he just happened to see, he was like, well, there's still an avenue here where we can do something equally crazy.
Yeah.
Because no one wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Studios are like, this is weird.
Yeah.
This is weird. Like, you got all these, like, different creatures and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like,
it is weird. Yeah.
And it is.
It's totally weird.
But it's like he just wrote it out where it's like, oh, no, this is a world that's already existing, and then our characters are just going through it.
Yes.
We're not even setting up a world. It's
Right.
just like we're throwing our audience into this world, and we're going to pick it up as we go along.
Which, like,
and that's what makes it so successful.
That's what makes it so amazing. What makes it work so well, and like arguably, like the greatest example of that of all time. You come into this movie. I mean, it's one of them. It's one of the most successful examples of that. Where you come into this movie, and it just seems like it's a world that exists.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about world building. My goodness gracious. I mean, it's like this, like Lord of the Rings, like stuff. There are these, there are these. You come into this world and you just feel like it exists whether you're there or not, and that is such a thing, I think, to strive for, almost regardless of whatever movie you're making.
Agreed.
But
I think,
the detail for this is just unbelievable.
And I think that's what makes it so effective. Is there's detail, but they're not putting a magnifying glass on any one thing.
Right.
It's just and here's
and
the
person
thing,
doesn't go, oh, I'm this and this
Yeah.
is my history. They do it. They give you bits of exposition and background a little bit.
But mostly it's just about these characters and this plot, and we're
Yeah.
just moving along, and then you get these peripheral things of like the cantina bar and all these things, and you're just like, no, this is
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was completely blown away by was when I found out that in the first cut of the movie that he showed to a lot of like Coppola and Friedkin and Brian De Palma, there wasn't the text crawl, the yellow text crawl that opens the movie, that lays the groundwork, so you don't have to do a lot of that normal world building stuff.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
And it was Brian De Palma's idea. Was like, he was like, you have to put something up front because this is absolute nonsense otherwise.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't know where you're at. You're totally, you're discombobulated completely. And so it was his idea to do the text crawl.
Yeah, like two big De Palma. I didn't know that, but then so apparently De Palma was like, you got to give us more information. You got to give us more boobs. I mean, like that's what
Yeah.
And he did one. He did one in the not the other, and we'll see. No, he didn't.
It's like, open it with a shower sequence.
Yeah, that's what I try to get one in. We're like, we know, Brian. The text roll was added earlier. A lot of key editing choices were made later after that screening. Yeah. Saw a YouTube video about it. Right.
Yeah, the editing, yeah.
That's an excellent, like, they just, exactly, this offhand, you fought in the Clone Wars? And you go, what's the Clone Wars? And I remember when the prequels came out, oh, what's up, Sir Blitz? How you doing? It was just like, oh my gosh, we're going to get to see the Clone Wars. That's crazy. And it was awesome. It was awesome. It was fun.
We'll get into that
we
in
will.
a second.
Yeah. Scription, exactly, as Madeline. Yes, he left the Directors Guild, which is why...
Which is so weird that they were like, no, you have to put in...
Subscription.
You have to put your credits up front.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre to me.
Dude, you hear that?
It's beautiful.
That whistling?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so
dang, we're talking about Star Wars PogChamp.
PogChamp indeed. Thank you so much for those 21 months of unbelievable support, Sir Blitz. Lots and lots of love. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. They toss off stuff like the Clone Wars, and they don't. And he had.
I made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs.
Yeah, and you're like, the what? And it's just like.
And it was like,
we're moving on.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it's not like you can just do that. It has to also sound evocative, or you have to do it in the right way. But it also works to do that. It's
does.
great, and it's just so he does it so well, and even that like even that line you're making fun of, Madeline, is another, you know. It's another example of that. I was going in a Toshi station to pick up some power converters.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, cool. Like,
but it's those little bits and pieces.
He's going to go off and do something. And then, that's fair at all of them. It's mine too, I think I realized today, although I don't know. A lot of people, yeah. Empire is kind of like, is sort of the popular choice for
I
best.
think Empire's the most artistic one of
Sure.
all of them. And probably on the level is the most accomplished. But I think you're right. Like, I think A New Hope, is the most complete, and from a plot standpoint of just like we do the
stand
full
on its
thing,
own,
and then it ends with the Death Star blowing up, and it's the most satisfying conclusion. And I get that Empire's like a middle ground one with a cliffhanger, but
oh gosh, hold on a second, that was good. Hold on a second. The Clone Wars actually refers to a 15-year dark period where 9 out of 10 movies are Marvel or Disney live-action remakes. Dang.
God, yeah,
nailed it. Punk, yes, Luke. I like New Hope more, because George didn't do it didn't do it. Oh, gotcha. So the Empire, New Hope is my favorite because how it's paced and everything. Empire is a better soundtrack. Okay, yeah, okay. Also has Yoda. I mean, that's the thing is like I was talking to Mark because
it's beautiful. It is beautiful when they go Bespin. The moment they fly towards it and then through it and then everything on Bespin. It is stunning.
That's crazy. Yeah, I guess that's the thing is like so what do you remember, and chat, please, guys, as we're talking about this, we're talking about all of it, right? We're talking about Star Wars, and I mean, we're not even bothering to get into the plot.
Yeah. Which
I think is just kind of the way it has to be, because we're just going to talk about it. But we're talking about all of it. Your experience with Star Wars, your feelings about it. So when did you first encounter it?
I think I honestly I don't remember my first viewing, but I had the VHS set, you know, with the blue, like the multicolored one, text on each one, and it had like a face of Yoda and the face of Darth Vader and the face of, you know which ones I'm talking about?
Are those the special editions?
No.
Okay.
Those are the more famous ones.
Yeah.
I had the original ones of that.
Do you still have those?
No, and they are crazy pricey
I bet
now.
they are. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm so pissed that I don't have them.
The lightsaber. Yeah.
And so
CBS VHS.
I wore those. I mean, I wore them out.
Yeah.
It's all I watched from, I would say, the age of 8 to 12. Like, it's just all I watched.
Really?
I had like the massive Millennium Falcon.
Gosh darn it.
And like
you also say it Falcon like Han Solo does.
Well, yeah, that's because that's what
it's
it's
okay.
called.
All right. Because the word is Falcon, but let's not mince. Okay.
I don't think I've ever. Hairs. I remember being in school one day after like the night before because I had to save up my money and I bought the Millennium Falcon.
Dang.
And then I went to school the next day, so I didn't really get to play with it that much. Yeah. And I don't think I remember this vividly. I don't think I've ever wanted to play with something more in my life than wanting to. I remember that day vividly because I wanted to get home. I remember running home and just starting to play it. Gosh. And I don't think I've ever wanted something in my life as much as I've wanted that.
It's true. I mean, and that's it.
So
That's
weird.
it. Like, think about that. I mean, that is. First of all, that's absolutely true. That's a thing about childhood that you don't get to experience very often. I experienced it with with the Arkham series.
Really?
Where I went away from it for a while. Like we went out, like I was playing them back to back, and then we had to go to a social engagement or something. And I was sitting there talking to people and going like, and it was like just trying to be polite. And I was going like,
all right,
and I was like, I could grapple up to that. I could grapple up to those rafters right now. And I was like, cool. And I was like, I like you as a person, whoever it was, but I can't think about anything because at home I'm Batman. I need to get back there.
There's a massive plot to take down Arkham, and I have got to stop it.
Childhood anticipation absolutely is intense. Like there's a thing like when you're waiting for something in the mail and you just keep running to the mailbox every day. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
But I mean, like that's a testament. Like what you're talking about is just a gigantic testament to, first of all, the creative power behind Star Wars.
Yes.
All of the whatever. But also Lucas's foresight, and like we all kind of go like, oh, he's a genius who's got behind all the merchandising, which like, and like people don't really say it like this, but there can be a tendency to look at that as kind of like, oh, he knew it, and like what a money grubber. It's like, look, no man, he gave the world this amazing gift. And
I'll never like people blame him as like that's a cynical cash grab. Like no, what to me he gave me my child. Like people love to shit on Lucas, and I don't like Lucas the prequels or anything, but like boy did Lucas come up with something so original.
Yeah.
And I know he didn't direct or screenplay credit for the Empire, Jedi, or anything, but you know what? A lot of his story elements are through all three of them. Yeah. And like he created that world.
Yeah,
I mean that's his thing.
I mean he had it all written out. That's why he can drop these things in there like the Clone Wars because he knows what it is.
Yeah.
You know, Star Wars was the first time I ever realized that actors could be in multiple movies. Because Mom, why is Indiana Jones in space? Fair point.
Yeah.
In your opinions, chat, do you think that they should have elaborated on stuff like the origin of Darth Vader, Clone Wars, or other things? The original show. I mean, like, where else are they going to go? I mean, what would they have done? New characters?
And that's what they should have done. Because what we're talking about is like the things where it's like, oh, they reference Clone Wars but don't explain it, or they reference the Kessel Run, and all these new movies are doing. Like, they're so well made and everything, but they're taking all those things that were referenced and just explaining them out to the nth degree to the point where I don't care. I watched that new Solo movie and I was like, I don't want to know any of this. I don't want to know any of this.
That one, I think that's where I'm like, dude, I like when I was like, whoa, it was years. I think I first saw the Clone Wars probably like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Episode 2.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's an interesting thing. There's like that whole like Blade Runner part at the beginning where they're basically like Blade Runners, and
there's a dope piece of like soundtrack in there from John. It's like dun, 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 when they're chasing. Is that the one where they're chasing through the city and they're jumping? Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Like I don't hate the sequel or the prequels at all. I don't. There's some moments in there where I go, this is what people are talking about, because they're just like, and then you see him go back and add that stuff into the special editions and stuff. But there's stuff like that in the original. I mean, Star Wars is occasionally whimsical. I mean, it's like
George Lucas's argument is like, I made these for kids, and then those kids went and watched the prequels as adults, and they didn't like it. I get what he's saying there.
Absolutely.
I do.
Yeah.
But I told you I was like 12, or how old was I? When was Phantom Menace?
98.
So 90? I was 12, and I mean, again, I grew up with Star Wars. Yes. And I walked out, and I was just like, I was. Yeah. I was like, I was trying to stay positive. Yeah. Because a lot of it was cool, pod race.
Yeah. So cool.
Duel of the Fates, all that. But
99.
Okay, so 13. But I knew even then that I was like, something's not right there. And it was pretty obvious to me what wasn't working, and it was the kid, and it was Jar Jar.
Don't cue the music just for me. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Impetuous Scamp. Thank you for those 5 freaking months of unbelievable support, my friend. Thank you so much, dude. I just want an old Obi-Wan movie, and you don't even care. I don't even care. I want it. Like Rogue One. I loved Rogue One. Did you see Rogue One?
No.
I loved Rogue One. Like, I finished Rogue One and was like, that might be my favorite Star Wars movie.
I need to see it.
But then, like, I also, it's weird. As many times and I don't know how many times I've seen them. Because
the originals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because I was sitting there talking to, because like my experience, they're just goofy. Sure. Who's going to introduce Star Wars? They can't hate too hard. That's interesting. Yeah. Some people Now it's interesting because we've got people in here who saw the prequels first. So
that's an interesting. I would love to know how that affected.
So what is your perspective? And like really truly, I wish. As a whole story, yeah, they're doing a prequel of Rogue One. Oh, what? That's weird.
What?
That's weird. Why would you do
a prequel of a prequel?
Yeah, that's weird. Because Rogue One is really cool because it's like this Rosencrantz and Guildenstern addition to the whole thing. But
interesting.
Okay, let me type this shit out. Please do, because I want to know what you're. Because I mean, I think there's such a strong tide of people going like the prequels are trash, and if you like the prequels, you're trash.
And that's not true because King Cobalt, like, it's true. The prequels have a ton, like,
absolutely,
not a few, a lot of great sequences. Yeah. It's just like when they fall into, look, I love
Trade Federation stuff,
Trade Federation discussions, political, you know, stuff like back and forth where it's literally people in albeit a amazing 360 courtroom Supreme Court thing that goes all the way to the ceiling. And did you know there's ETs in one of those little... Yeah.
Yes.
That stuff's just like... it doesn't click. The romance stuff between Natalie Portman and what's his name?
Who, Anakin? Or are you talking about Hayden Christensen?
Hayden Christensen. It just doesn't work. And it's and like I love Natalie Portman. Yeah. And I even like Hayden Shattered Glass. Like
He's great in Shattered Glass.
He is capable of being a fantastic actor.
I'm always like it's Shattered Glass.
Yeah.
Check out Shattered Glass. Yeah.
But it doesn't work. And it's some of it's laughably bad.
It's odd. It's odd. It's like I mean, think about what a weird thing for that to be your introduction to the world as an actor. I mean,
it's almost like you can't win.
No, you can't.
At least with Natalie Portman, she came in. She was in, Leon, the Professional, and all that. And
yeah. Oh, because she was well.
She was established before then. Yeah. I hate sand. It's coarse, right? Right. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Just a line.
Oh yeah.
It's not
yes.
good.
No, I remember it. I know. First movie. Yeah, so a lot of politics, small amount of time. Some Venom is better theater 6 times, mostly for Darth Maul and John Williams. Absolutely. I mean, Darth Maul is amazing. Age gap 3, Anakin 10 years younger than Padme. That's like my parents.
But here's the thing. I totally missed that.
That's
Sorry.
cool. That's fine.
Did you throw a joke out there?
No. It's just my real actual life. My parents, they were like, the age gap threw me that Padme is 10 years older than Anakin.
Wow.
But like my dad's like 9, 10 years older than my mom.
I'm like 5 years older than Kelsey. So.
Yeah.
I can't judge.
Yeah. Anakin, you're breaking my heart.
What does he say in the first one?
Sweet.
Oh my God, that's right, because he's a little kid.
Yeah,
he's a little child.
Yeah. And
she's like looking after him because she's a teenager.
Yeah.
And then they bone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because he's like, what's that?
That is weird. That's super weird. It is because that's the framework. Yeah.
But it's like the babysitter thing. That's cool. Sorry, is that weird? What?
Like we just tapped into something.
You know that thing. That thing?
We obsess over your babysitter.
Yeah, that thing is fine. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Remember when you had a babysitter and you're like, God, she's like the coolest 23-year-old ever. And you're like, no, that girl was like 11 and you were 7.
Yeah.
And that's just how you viewed people.
I definitely had a crush on one of my babies. Okay,
so
there
we
go.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a certain age where I had a crush on literally every female person I knew. There was a time in my life when I remember having a crush on literally every single girl in the class and the teacher's assistant, who was probably like 20.
You were running around with
was like, "What's up?"
Little Villalobo boner.
Yeah, Villalobo boner. Oh boy. So my mom didn't think I'd be into Star Wars because you were girly AF, but because I was girly. But she was like, maybe she'll like this because I was all for Indiana Jones. Sure. All right. So I was like 5 or 6 when Phantom Menace came out, which is like prime Star Wars days. Let me tell you, I fell in love with Anakin Skywalker on the spot.
Nice.
So I was like, oh yeah, let's roll. I want to see this Star Wars exhibit museum. No, that thing's amazing. One was Darth Vader. I was like, Mom, who TF is this? And she's like, yo, it's Anakin. Oh, damn. That's amazing.
Whoa.
That's amazing. Oh,
that must
imagine watching them that way?
That's incredible.
That's like Breaking Bad or something. Darth Maul was really cool looking. Looking to bring Maul back in the Clone Wars and Rebels. Yeah,
I heard you really expanded on him.
Hot for teacher moment. Yeah, I mean, hey, the great thing about babysitters is they can be inappropriately hot for both the adults. That is the great thing about babysitters. That is their prime utility. Not that they look after your kids. But,
I bet that, Madeline.
Yeah, I know.
I like just hearing that.
That's crazy.
I'm like, but. Was that cool for you? Because for me, it would be like, how on earth did that young innocent boy become that thing?
I know.
And that's what was so cool about Darth Vader, because you heard him referenced as Anakin and how he was a Jedi, and you heard all this through Obi-Wan in the original trilogy, and you're like, man, I wonder what he was like to be a good guy.
Oh my gosh. It's like when Darth Vader died in Return of the Jedi, I literally cried my eyes out for hours, and my mom felt horrible.
Wow.
Because you saw him from the beginning of his life. What an epic Shakespearean tragedy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Star Wars and Bond movies are probably the best movie series ever. They are some of the most popular, and I enjoy them both.
I have been.
I don't know.
It's so
if
funny
I
you're
would
mentioning.
say-
I revisited because I have the box set of the Bond movies. I've been revisiting all of them
good
over
for
the
you.
past few months, and I'll say this: they're all incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
There's only one or two that are actually good.
Yeah. The crime part, not so much awesome. Still a powerful experience. Mother still says that that's still the most guilty she's ever felt in her life. Wow, that's crazy. No, man, because what a crazy perspective on Darth Vader. Because I realize it just still doesn't enter my head. Like, I'm like, there are kids who grow up loving the prequels, and that makes sense because they watch Star Wars, the originals, and they're both cool and they whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like it doesn't enter my head that people would watch them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 order.
Right.
Like that doesn't occur to me.
Me neither.
Because
we just
did it just seem, but like to me, and maybe I'm just totally wrong. No, because by the third one he's already Darth Vader. So because I was like, there'd be such a disconnect where I'm just like, that's not the same person. But
it does. Did it ruin for you the "I am your father" moment in Empire? Because that was massive. That was a big freaking deal.
yeah,
That was a big freaking deal.
because they do say like Luke and Leia. They like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
in the
they
third.
talk about it in Sith.
Okay.
Yeah, it is referenced for sure.
Went into Star Wars thinking Darth Vader was a good guy.
Dang.
7, 8, 9, 4, 5. Oh, is that like machete order or whatever? 7, 8, 9. Oh, that's chronological?
Gotcha.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, yeah, because...
Oh no, this is.
No,
I saw
no.
Patton Oswalt talking about this. It's like 7, 8, 9. Wait, 4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6 should be first.
Is the original.
The correct order. Oh, you're talking about machete? Jeff, I was like 5. I don't think I put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Okay. Machete. You're talking about machete order. Sure.
So what's the machete order?
I can't remember, but it's like supposedly, and like there's one where like you omit, and there's like, there are different variations too, and there's one where it's like you omit 1 or 2 of the prequels entirely, and then I think you watch like certain parts of one, and it's supposed to be like it's supposed to
Comprehensive, like.
yeah, and like maybe also preserve the story and the twist the best or something. I can't remember. Eliminate 1, that's the one. But I'm like, why would you eliminate 1? That's ridiculous. There's the Darth Maul fight. There's the pod race. There's some other cool stuff.
But in terms of plot,
Yeah,
I wonder.
they're saying it's just totally
Yeah.
superfluous. Mark Hamill Pop Culture Quest is a show where he investigates toy collectors and the merchandise behind films, starting with his own $1 million collection. Goodness. Best way to watch Star Wars is something called Machete Order. The detail here, by computer software blogger Rod Hilton, 2011. Machete Order works like this: 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 2. Sorry, 3, 6. Skipping in 1 entirely because the only good things about Episode 1 were the pod race scene and the Darth Maul lightsaber duel. Please never ever mention midi-chlorians. Thanks. I mean, that's it. Like that's, I don't know. Like that's an interesting. It's an interesting thing for me because I'm like, this whole, like, people are like, midi-chlorians are stupid. I'm like, that was his idea. That's the whole thing. Like, that's all of it. And if you don't like it, fine, but then you don't like his idea.
It falls into the same thing that the new ones are doing, which is explaining things that I don't want or need to be explained. You're taking... You're saying that I want to know. You're assuming the audience wants to know these things, and the audience wants a little bit of mystery because there's something magical about. I mean, the Force particularly. I mean, you don't. That's like you'd be like, no, your faith is due to your DNA or whatever, you know.
No, I'm definitely having my daughter watch them in its Madeline order. We're gonna call it that.
It's Madeline order, yeah, the Madeline order.
Machete is F4, F5. Find out Anakin, his father. Go back to prequels to learn about how he turns into Darth Vader. Conclusion.
Yeah, cool.
That's cool. I like that you start with Episode 4 and then 5. Interesting.
It makes me do. They do talk about Luke and Leia, though. Am I right? In Sith.
451236. In Sith. I thought. Well, I think they just mentioned Luke and Leia. I think they mentioned them by name.
And like she's having those babies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which he shouldn't have done that because
he should have just not named them.
Because chronologically, if someone was to watch these, it does ruin the surprise of.
Right. Unless you just watch them and don't know anything about Star Wars and forget that. No, because
he could just,
he could have just not mentioned the names.
His argument could be, no, that I know it was a surprise when it was released, but in terms of the overall arc here, it doesn't matter.
When she has the babies, exactly, she goes Luke and Leia, like she says that, but they don't. I don't think they talk about them, or they don't go into it, but they're just like, whatever. And she's like, she has them, and she looks at me and goes, Luke, Leia. Now don't make out with each other. Stop! What are you doing?
She goes.
We're gonna have some weird babies. You guys gonna have some weird babies. I'm trying to check out the fan edits, the prequels for funsies. Sure. Let me ask you guys about some conspiracy theory. Do you think the guys Jar Jar Binks was to be decent? That's
God, I hope so.
That's
that would
a
be
crazy,
fantastic.
wonderful idea. That's a wonderful idea.
He just removes his cloak,
and then he just goes and then would he like drop the accent and he'd be like, "This is how I've talked."
It's Jeremy Irons.
Yeah. It's like Jason. Yeah, it's like Statham, and he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, you don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's just like
Turkish.
Yeah. The Force is strong on me. What are you going to do? He said, Misa always been on the dark side. Right, exactly. You some people gonna... Yeah, right. Then boom, roll credits. I mean, like, dude...
I would have to dive into this conspiracy
I would have loved it. Like, and people ruined it. That would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah, man.
That would have been amazing.
Like, what a way to turn a negative into a plus.
Yeah,
if you just totally was like, no, guys.
He's like, it's on purpose. Exactly. Like,
I would be way into that. I hope Rian Johnson does that somehow, some way in his new trilogy.
Oh, someone should bring back Jar Jar Binks. Someone should have the biggest balls of all time.
And redo his and make people love him.
He's the key of all this. Oh, yeah. Dude, that's amazing. Oh,
my God.
3PO is maybe not as irritating, but, like, comparably irritating.
I don't blame him for putting him in there because he did put 3PO in there. And 3PO, I mean, if you want to do an apples to oranges comparison, it's like, in terms of annoyance, that you could make that argument. You absolutely could. So why would he assume that people are going to have such a negative reaction to him, you know?
Because he's made goofy crap and goofy stuff in the past, and people loved it. Dave Filoni must say, who's that? Dave Filoni. Someone should bring back Jar Jar Binks' quote. It's like, there you go. So when it happens, it's your fault. Because he was born in the 40s. Oh. It's like poetry, so it rhymes. Wait, what is? Oh. Ewoks equals porgs. Sure.
Here's the thing. I never minded the Ewoks because I was young enough to not be. I don't know. They'd never. When that one Ewok goes over to his friend.
Oh yeah.
During the battle because he died and he goes.
Yeah. Oh, it was like a little.
I cried as a kid watching that.
Little Mogwai.
I loved those guys.
I watched prequels that focused on Jar Jar because there are 4 moments he could not possibly be a Sith. Interesting. One part where they go, "Hey Jar Jar, you a Sith?" And he goes, "No, Misa knows a Sith." And they go, "All right, checks out." Young enough to not be dead inside and appreciate little forest yarfers. Yarfers. Sure.
Yarfers. Yeah, it was nice. I remember when you weren't cynical. Yeah, dead inside.
I know. Here's the deal, man. Like, well, hold on. I got some notes because I was watching this. movie.
Now that we're talking about it, like, I didn't watch this before we did this because I've seen this like 100 times. But now that we're talking about it, I'm going to go home and watch it tonight.
Yeah.
Because, like, I love this movie. I really do.
Return was always favorite when I was little because of Ewoks, and I was a small bisexual, and Bikini Leia is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, closer to everything than it is to nothing.
I remember Jedi was my favorite growing up because... Jedi was my favorite for the longest time because, I mean, it had the second Death Star battle at the end, which was, to this day, in terms of visual effects and stuff, continues to wow me.
Yeah.
Like, when they do... There's a shot when they're following the Falcon and a couple of X-Wings, and they're about to go inside Death Star 2, and they do this thing where they're falling behind him, and they go, whoo,
Yeah.
and then they go into a tunnel, and it's all following the camera's
Yeah,
following
yeah,
behind
yeah,
them.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
very
yeah.
specific shot,
Yeah.
and to this day, it just like wow,
Yeah.
that is incredible.
Dude, the stuff that they did, like the thing is like that's what I'm saying is like you watch Jaws and go, cool, like
Sure.
what a big budget thing, or
Yeah.
what a different thing. You watch Star Wars and you're like,
It's on the screen.
this blows anything out of the water.
Blows that shark out of the
It
water.
Radio farewell and adieu to you fair the Spanish Ewoks.
Mother.
The binary sunset. The binary sunset. I love that. I love that twin sun scene. In Tatooine.
It looks
It's
photorealistic.
amazing. It's amazing. Refugees get wait. Hold on. Jar Jar is in the streets of Naboo, and everyone despises him because he was the reason of Palpatine's rise in the Senate. Jar Jar pretty much makes refugees kids have fun because kids are the only ones who don't hate Jar Jar, and this is explained in the Aftermath book. Okay.
Oh, that's a dark ending for that character.
You're back to square one. It's a sad scene. All you got to do is show two suns in the sky and play the Luke and Leia scene, and I'll cry.
Yeah.
I really liked Return of the Jedi for a long time, and it's such a simple. That's just the thing. That's the point of this, or that's when we talk about. I think we've talked about this before, but like making simple, bold choices and making the right ones.
Yeah.
Because two suns is like okay, fine, two suns, and then you show it to me, and it's just like that's it.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
It's close enough to Earth, but far enough away from it. It just I feel what a great design choice.
And that's all it is.
Right
it's
choice.
just a
Do it
design
right.
choice, and it hits you on an emotional level, and that's all you need. I feel like stuff like that would get workshopped to death in like corporate meetings these days, where it'd be like, well, why?
Exactly.
We got to justify that. Okay, are we gonna have two suns? Well, then we got to have a sequence with two suns later on
and
in
then
the
two
film.
moons, and then whatever.
Yeah.
And people will say something about the two suns. And
Yeah.
it's great.
Right.
Yeah, like the two suns. I heard Jar Jar in the streets, and may I just follow up with Jar Jar in the sheets.
Jar Jar never met a sheet he couldn't get himself tangled in. It's true. It's what they say about him.
Can we talk about how Star Wars has the best scores of all time? Every movie is a bop.
Yeah.
Wait, a bop? Like a bop? Yeah. Actually, the two suns are scientifically inaccurate.
Yeah, the scores are incredible. I watched this documentary about movie composers. I think it was called Score. I think it was just called Score.
Oh, I wanted to see that so badly.
It was great. It was really cool. And they had this sequence where they filmed John Williams in the studio as he had just written Duel of the Fates for Phantom Menace. And no one had heard it before, including John Williams.
Wow.
And it was this incredible sequence where he got all his people into the booth, and like all the players and everything, and everybody's in the sound booth. And it's Duel of the Fates. Yeah. Like, say what you want about Phantom Menace, that is an iconic, like one of his best compositions of all time. And he hasn't even heard it. He's only written it on a paper. It's just something that was in his brain. Yeah. And then to know that it was inside his brain, he put it on page. He gave it to people, and then he's like, okay, here we go. And then it builds and builds, and everybody is just like, holy mother of God. Yeah. I got goosebumps. Yeah. I got goosebumps just saying it right now. Yeah. Because it's incredible. Because I was like, that dude is it was just in his head, that thing, and he made it, and it's just beautiful.
I know. It's incredible. It's incredible. Across the Stars is the best thing to ever come out of the prequels. Across the Stars, that's a theme? I don't think I know that theme. He got chicken skin. He got goose pimples. Dang. But there's stuff that because part of my thing here, because like the last time I watched them, the first time I ever watched them, I think I lived in Costa Rica, and I don't know how old I was. But I had an uncle, and he was like, or a cousin, and he was like, and I was hanging out with him for whatever reason. He sat me in a room and was like, have you seen Star Wars? I was like, I don't know. And he put it on, and I watched it. And from that viewing, and I think I maybe watched more than one of them, just that climactic corridor run, shooting the thing into the exhaust. It was just like, just how cool that looked.
Of course.
Is what burned into my head.
Yeah.
And And I think if anyone asks, like, what's the most, if someone says Star Wars, that's like the first thing I think of is that, just that amazing sequence.
I just realized mine was I was in St. Louis visiting my aunt, and it was just playing on the TV, like I guess on ABC or something, and it was Empire.
Yeah.
And it was the moment when he's trying to raise the ship out of the water. So I got to see the X-Wing for the first time, and I saw Yoda, and just the atmosphere of it and everything. I was like, that looks so interesting.
What
and
is
cool. What
this?
is
Yeah,
that? And
exactly.
I asked her about it, and that's how I found out about Star Wars. And I just remembered that
Space stuff
right
in a
now.
swamp. That's awesome. Yeah. That's amazing. Like spaceships in a swamp. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. Have to be wait. Right? We were talking about now we're actually talking about a twin sun system. If you want to feel emotional, watch kids watching Star Wars for the first time. Yeah, but Ennio Morricone will always be the best. I mean, he's a great. He is just a solid gold great. Okay, everyone's okay.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted you though. So
No.
continue. You were in Costa Rica, and that's how you watched the first one, and with the turret system, and you going in, and so
yeah, and like I just
were you immediately like impact? Like were you like I'm on the Star Wars train?
I was like that's awesome.
You want to know more?
But I didn't feel I wasn't like because I wasn't a star. I was always like Star Wars is cool looking.
Yeah. But
and
you
then
weren't into.
Yeah, and I don't know that I don't know that after that. I don't know when I saw all of them. I don't know that I ever watched them all back to back. They would come on and I would watch, I'd watch them and stuff. And I was always like, Star Wars is a thing that's cool. Because people told me it's a thing that's cool, and it's cool, and it does look cool. And I like watching it, and it's cool. But I was never very emotionally invested in it, and it never took over my life. I never was like in love with it. And I got older and realized like, oh yeah, I guess I just don't, it's fine. It's cool. And I watched them most recently, all three of them together. Oh, I think we watched all six of them in preparation for
the new ones.
Yeah. And like over the course of 2 days, like watched them. And that's a weird way to watch them if you haven't seen them in a long time and don't know them all that well, because they just kind of blend together. It's a different viewing experience. You sit down and you go like, all right, I'm about to watch 6 movies, so I gotta like mentally prepare and stuff. And I was like, cool, and I just have absorbed them. And like I said, I hadn't seen. I think that was the first time I saw the Clone Wars. Was like whenever, like right before Last Jedi came out or something. Not Last Jedi. Is it Last Jedi? Force Awakens.
That's the first one.
Yeah. Probably. I don't know.
The new ones.
And one sitting before the Force Awakens, and it's intense. Yeah, exactly. Because the world. Okay. Yes. But like. So sitting down and going like, okay, I'm going to watch Star Wars. And I was like, I know Star Wars. And then I was like, do I really? And like approaching it as just like a single movie, as a self-contained film, and trying to approach it as much as I possibly could. And it's a testament to how incredibly impactful it is, obviously, that it's hard to do this. But like try to approach it as someone watching it for the first time in 1977, not knowing what's coming your way. Because so much stuff is just taken for granted. It's just part of. It's just part of what you know.
Yeah.
As storytelling, essentially, it's like they're archetypal characters. I mean, it's just like you go, oh, it's like the Star Wars thing or whatever, and it's just, gosh, I mean, it just goes bang, da, 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 and the title and the crawl, and then just the iconic pan down the stars in a starship of some kind.
Yeah. Just always.
And the pew, and then. Yeah. And imagine in 1977 watching that happen.
Mind blowing. Yeah.
And you go,
what is this?
Whoa! And your brain goes, and immediately your brain goes, this is incredible. I've never seen anything like remotely like this.
I think they had to do special optics. I think
they invented stuff. Yeah.
Where they because up till that time, I might be wrong because of 2001: Space Odyssey, but I don't think I am. Their ability to tilt a camera down, where with stars, I think Star Wars is the first one to do that, and they had to invent some technology in order to just
computer-controlled
do that.
cameras that also like would follow the ships and would like do this and make the and they'd move it, and then it would memorize the path and then do that as many times as they needed it to. I mean, they invented tons of stuff, and it's like. Yeah, and Space Odyssey is breathtaking as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is like
But they were doing things in terms of like camera movement specifically, where it's like, oh no, we want to start on the stars, then we want to tilt down to a planet, show that in the frame, and then we want a ship to come in and go not like this parallel to the frame. We want it to come over the frame like this, and that's how you got that first iconic shot. And that's what opens the first movie. And I mean, I can't imagine. I wish I could go back. Like if I had a time machine, there are a couple places I would want to go. I want to go to Dealey Plaza for the Kennedy assassination because I'm way into that.
Cool.
And then that was a weird tangent.
No.
And then the other one would be
like stop it. No, go ahead.
Well, sure. But then also to figure out what's going on there.
Sure.
And then 77.
Yeah.
And just to stand in line and go in there and experience that and like wipe my memory. And just go in, not having any history of it. It's not in the pop culture, and you walk in there and you see that.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
And the thing is, like watching it, because that's so, because it just goes, and your brain, like in 77, it just would have gone, because it still happens. I still react to it. I still go.
It's still an incredibly impressive shot,
and it's incredible, and the sound design and all of it, it just goes, whoa, that is arresting, and then cut inside. The very next shot is these white corridors, and you're like, that's amazing. The two golden robots, and then an R2D2, and it just like, and you go, what is this?
Yeah.
Where am I? I've watched 2 seconds of this movie, and I don't know. And if you like, I would like stop the projector and come out and go,
yeah.
And you go, yeah. Where is this going?
Yeah.
Like, they talk about like having something happen in the first, 5-15 pages of your screenplay.
I think it's where I've learned to be.
You just go, huh?
I find that when I write stuff, I'm just like, no, start it in the middle of whatever action you want to like establish. Just start in the middle of it and then work backwards somehow later on.
I mean, and that's just the thing. The pan reaction shot from the theater in that 70s show was, I've not seen that. That's really great. She waited for hours in line to see the movie, and she's so confused, couldn't tell what was going on with the effects and everything. I mean, like, I mean, it's like, it's like they tell stories of like, they showed the Great Train Robbery, and the train came toward the screen, and people ran out of the theater because they were like, what's happening? I mean, it's almost that level of, people say next level a lot, and this was like a level they invented and was here. I mean, it's just incredible.
And that's just in terms of like visuals and effects and everything. And then on top of that, it just happened to have an incredible mythology and storyline. And this will be something we can get into in a little bit, but like, it's crazy to know how late in the game they were piecing it together in terms of like the assault on the Death Star. They were like, it's okay, it's kind of leaden. And then they were like, well, what if we shoot a bunch of insert shots to show that they're trying to destroy it before they clear around the planet and come into frame of the Death Star, so the planet is about to be destroyed.
Right. And those twin things going on.
And those two things dueling it out and intercutting those two things. That was almost a decision made in the 11th hour.
Yeah.
And that was put in like a couple of weeks before the premiere.
Yeah. And like
it's crazy.
And they're talking about, someone mentioned, I think Marsha Lucas, right, his then wife, had a huge impact on the film, and she did. She was like one of the only people that Lucas would listen to. Yeah. And she edited it, and made and like retooled that whole last assault on the Death Star sequence, and like just made it like people watching were like, oh, okay, whatever. But
there's no tension to it.
Worked. I mean, and it's just like she made things work. I was like, Darth Vader is only 10% of A New Hope. Sure. There's only your friends that made a lot of suggestions on how to make it. Sure. Yeah, and when your filmmaker friends are, Brian De Palma, Spielberg, and Coppola, like, come on, it's just like wow.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. This time,
there's like home video footage of them all playing pool together, like in San Francisco, and it's Spielberg, Coppola, De Palma, I think Friedkin's there, and Lucas, and you're just like, wow.
Gross. Awesome.
Wow.
Ridiculous. Yeah. Thank you so much, Soaring Trump, for another freaking gifted sub. Welcome, Some Media Geek, to the lobrocop, my friend. Always good to see you. Thank you for being here. Blade Runner is also really great. That's true.
Blade Runner is great.
It is, absolutely.
And Blade Runner 2049 is great.
It's great.
They're equally great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so freaking much. Thank you so. And that's the thing, is that like, you talk about something like Blade Runner, Welcome, Some Media Geek, and thank you again, Soaring Trumpet. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you. Gosh darn it, thank you. Lots of love. He's talking about something like Blade Runner, right? And just talk about the incredible impact that had on filmmakers coming after it and seeing it at the time, and how that changed movies. And then, like, you think of how Star Wars influenced Blade Runner. Blade Runner is huge. Star Wars is seismic.
Yeah. I
mean, Star Wars is everything. My goodness, like it.
Star Wars left a cultural impression, like it left it dented it.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about
permanently.
Yeah,
but like Blade Runner is like it left a stylistic impression. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And the thing is, like, dude, thank you. Good gravy. Welcome, Biohazard. Goodness gracious, welcome back for your 6th month, courtesy of Soaring Trumpet. Thank you so much, dude. Lots of love. Imagine being the reason the term blockbuster is just because it busted the block, right? I actually realized only this time. Thank you so freaking much. Thank you so much. Oh, that wasn't a gifted sub. Sorry, that was just Biohazard. Thank you for the 6th month of. Thank you. What? What is happening? Oh, that was a gifted sub to Pixel. Welcome, Pixel. Thank you, Biohazard, for your 6 months. Goodness gracious. Thank you, guys.
Things are happening.
Things are happening. This is insanity. Lots of love. Thank you so much. Let's all come together. Absolutely. I didn't realize, and it just occurred to me, TIE fighters are called TIE fighters because they look like bow ties, kind of.
Oh, is that why? But they have like a name. It's like an acronym.
TIE?
Hi, Dad.
I just assumed.
Hey, Biohazard. Lots of love. Thank you so much. I wonder if a film will ever again have the enormous cultural impact. I mean, it's hard to imagine it. We're
just at a point where what can you do in terms of both story and technological impact?
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. Like, Star Wars has a wonderful story that I love it, and it was a huge part of my childhood. But it was as big as it was because it showed people something they had never seen before.
Yeah. So it stands for Twin Ion Engine. I didn't know that.
Okay, yeah.
But also, it's not like it's I mean, like this is created by artists. I think it can be both, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Like,
I'm sure. I'm sure it was bow tie, and then
yeah.
Let's come up with something for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Twin Ion Engine is pretty good. That's good.
That's really good.
Pretty
yeah.
darn good. That sounds cool. TIE Element Starfighter is simply known as the TIE Fighter. It was the standard Imperial starfighter using maximum numbers of reactors, colloquially referred to the craft as eyeballs. Oh, interesting. The Ellen fighter.
And you know what the sound of a TIE fighter is?
No.
It's an elephant.
Really? Flying a TIE fighter?
And flying a TIE fighter.
That's fantastic.
Apparently it's an elephant and like a car screeching to a halt.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
That's it's amazing. The eyeballs fighter. A totally insane extreme. But I'll never be as quotable as Forrest Gump. Am I right? You are right! The eye fighter?
Yeah, eye fighter. Yeah. I just remember seeing Vader's TIE fighter come out between the trio, and his was in the middle, and his were dented in, and I was just like, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Oh yeah. Where Star Wars is able to make merch, that was also unprecedented. Absolutely, one of the films that ever. So that's the thing, is that like, and someone makes you do make a good point about the Marvel movies, but I think it's still it's incredibly dominant. But the thing is, like, you have to think that it's got to be because before Star Wars, the last seismic shift was the new Hollywood. It was Bonnie and Clyde, and it was Easy Rider. So I think if something else comes along and changes movies the way Star Wars changed movies, it's not going to be because it's bigger than Star Wars in the same way. It's going to be because it's revolutionarily different, right? Mm-hmm. Or it's going to be a return to something like we saw with Easy Rider or something like that. It's going to have to change the game, but it's not going to be like the effects in this are so big
Yeah.
that it changed. It's like, no, because we're already going toward that. People
Yeah.
are already trying to do that, and they're just not. I mean, it's whatever. It's just.
I mean, the fact that you can release something like the Lion King trailer for the remake, and you're like, yeah, that's probably the coolest looking thing I've ever seen, and like it made me mad. I mean,
well, I watched it, and
that's all CGI.
Yeah,
which is weird. What there's that whole thing. There's like, well, why are you calling it live action?
Yeah, it's true.
And it's true because it's all CGI. It's just another animated movie, but it's so impressive because it really does look real.
That's awesome.
And also, we're just at a stage in society where it's that barely registers as impressive anymore, which is so sad.
It is, and it's. I mean, because people. I mean, and it is incredibly impressive because I'm watching it and I go like, those look like real ass animals. And then the trailer ends, and I just go, why?
Oh yeah,
because it's the same thing.
It's the exact same movie.
I want to watch Lion King.
Yeah,
I mean that's like
it made me. I got my DVD, my Blu-ray out of Lion King, and I put it on my TV, and I was like, oh, it makes me want to watch that because that's so much more artistically beautiful to me.
I mean, not that. I mean, the work there is breathtaking, but that's the thing is like that's not Star Wars was groundbreaking because of the special effects. But it's more than that.
Yeah.
Because if it's just special effects, then Lion King would be all we were talking about, right? Let's Jungle Book on IMAX 3D was just going, it was so pretty the whole time. It was amazing. And it was so amazing. It pissed you off. Gotcha. Sister Todd. Yeah, they are just animated films. Absolutely. So agreed. Counterpoint, no Jeremy Irons.
That's a bummer.
Wait, who is it? Because that's the other thing is that they're like, well, we just got James Earl Jones again. And it's like, okay.
But we don't have JTT.
Like, I don't want them to replace him. Right. But I just don't make it. But they go like, we got James Earl Jones, and I go, well, if you're gonna do it, you're just having him read his lines over, and then they got John Oliver, who's the closest thing to Mr. Bean that they can get. It was Rowan Atkinson. Even though they could have just gotten Rowan Atkinson.
But again, it's all animated, so why can't you just use the original audio tracks? If you're gonna do this shot for shot Psycho type, Gus Van Sant type remake, why not just get the original recordings and do it that way?
Sure.
There's no other way for me to view that, but it being like this is a way to make a shitload of money. Yeah. How else are you supposed to look at something like that?
You should have remade Lion King with claymation. I mean, that'd be interesting, sort of. No, they just do something else. Is Billy Eichner? Who's Billy Eichner? I can't remember that. Seth Rogen. Oh, Seth Rogen is of course Pumbaa. That makes sense. Jones didn't fit the lion casting direction. New scars Chiwetel Ejiofor. You know what? That's not bad. That's not bad.
Is it though? Like, does he have an iconic voice? Jeremy Irons has an iconic voice.
The thing with Chiwetel Ejiofor is I like him as an actor, but there are definitely times when I'm just like, you're a great stage actor. Like he is just theatrical, and he's like boom, and he can not do that. He can be very, very real.
I mean, he's amazing in 12 Years. He's amazing in. I saw him in a terrible movie, John Hillcoat movie called Red 9 Lives or Triple Nine. Yeah. Terrible movie.
We talked about that.
But he was fantastic in it.
Yeah. I Googled how to. I know I pride myself on being able to spell Chiwetel Ejiofor as well as Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those are two. Eric Andre is one of the hyenas. Oh, that's interesting, I guess. Yeah. He's a lovely singing voice. They wanted to cast an actor of color. Sure. And that makes, please, by all means. But just why make it in the first place? Like Donald Glover is Simba or something, which is like, okay. Like, we've gotten to the point now where it's just like, it's stunt casting.
I just don't, I'm like, you're taking, it's just, it's needless. There's no way to defend it other than it being money. It's like, well, we want it for a new generation. I'm like, you have a timeless thing. Animation doesn't go out of style. Yeah. It just doesn't. Yeah. So it's not like it's dated. It's just, it is what it is. I don't know how else to put it. I'm like, no, you're doing this because you want to make a lot of money and you've run out of ideas to do new things that are going to sell.
I think that there are probably people who are champing at the bit to do new ideas, but they're like, we can't. This is our Marvel, although they now own Marvel. But
they're making money.
But they're just like, look, man, we've already Marvel over here, us, who we own, whatever, is doing this, and we have to like.
As a businessman, they'd be like, no, you dummy, you don't understand. We understand everything that you're saying.
Of course.
We even agree with you.
Yeah.
Also, this is going to make $4 billion.
Because you idiots who are complaining about it are going to go see it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, dang it. Such a bad, we all going to watch it. See, the thing is, like, I don't know if I will. I don't know if I will watch The Lion King. I probably will, but I don't know if I will. It'll be months later. It definitely won't be.
I went and saw Beauty and the Beast, and I was like, okay, got it. So that's exactly what they're doing. I was like, you made a lesser version of the animated one, and it wasn't as good, but you still just copied it completely. And I was like, cool. So that's what you're doing, and I'm not interested in that.
It's going to be like, I mean, it's starting to feel like, I don't know. It is. They're just going to have as many as they have like Bond movies, and it's just like, here comes another one. It's like, okay, I don't know.
And then they're going to go through their phase of like...
Fair point.
What?
Fair point. Sorry. What is it? I hope they don't include the lioness sexy eyes scene. Yeah, when they're doing Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And like they're wrestling around and then like Nala ends up on the grass.
Oh, she goes like this, she goes.
She's like, "You gonna fucking..." And he's just like, and he just goes, and Simba goes like, "Dang, I am a male lion," and I just got a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because like, dang. Like,
but luckily, because it was Matthew Broderick at that point voicing it, I was just like, Matthew Broderick can't handle this.
He's not gonna.
He can't do anything with this.
Exactly. Sorry, Matthew Broderick. You probably
He was Dr. Snuffleupagus of in Godzilla. All right.
Yeah. Winnie the Pooh movie. Oh yeah, they totally like the Jungle Book was a different lot compared to the original. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to. I mean, there are things. That's the thing is that like there are things to. There are things to explore. Like if you were going to do like a dark version of it, cool. But they're not. They're just like you see. It's literally a shot for shot.
It's just why, and it's like we can let's segue back into Star Wars. Like one of my issues with Force Awakens, I was just like I'm gonna give J.J. Abrams his due here because that guy had an impossible task, and he still delivered a very entertaining movie that did a lot of things right.
Yeah.
But by the end, when they're just going down a turret that is for another Death Star, I'm just like, oh, so you guys just remade A New Hope.
Yeah.
And the thing with J.J. Abrams is like, I don't know why. I think he's a very talented filmmaker. I've never seen anything he's done that's hit me with any sense of gravity. Yeah. Where I've watched his movies go in one ear and they completely evaporate.
Totally.
And I have a great time while I'm watching them.
Me too.
And they move at a pace that's just like this. And then at the end, I'm just like, I remember Han Solo because I felt like he nailed that whole scene in what happens to him in a very poetic way. And that was it.
Yeah. They're very palatable. Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. And, yeah,
they're palatable.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm excited to see what Rian Johnson's gonna do. And
I enjoyed both of them wholly. But I was not going in don't screw up RoboCop. I was like, give me another Star Wars. I don't care. Sweet.
Yeah.
Super fun. Whatever. But yeah. So back to Star Wars though. The reason people care so much about this, obviously, and because people were like, oh, you did the same thing with the Force Awakens. You repeated yourself. Do something new, and they did, and then people hated that.
And that was insane because I went and saw Last Jedi and I walked out and I was like, that's what they need to be doing.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like, they need to be doing that all the time. And I was so happy that they were like, no, we're going to give him the new trilogy with new characters and we're going to let him oversee the entire new trilogy. And I was like, that's the best creative decision you could have made. And then I get home and I go online and I find out that people hate Last Jedi.
They still
and
do.
I cannot fathom that because it did everything that I wanted a Star Wars movie to do, which is to expand the universe, know the history of it, know the mythology of it, treat it respectfully. It felt like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And it felt like a badass, great Star Wars movie.
I mean, there's that.
They're like, well, she flew in space after she got blown up. And I'm like, so?
Yeah.
That's new,
Yeah.
and it's something we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And who gives a shit? Yeah. It's the Force.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. I agree. Felicia Gertrude did the singing voice of Dulcimmer in Lion King. In the animated Lion King? Boy. I've decided that I'm going to try to avoid seeing any and all trailers for episode 9. Absolutely. I would totally. Yeah. I don't go into an ice cream shop. Yeah, I don't go into an ice cream shop and say, hey, don't ruin vanilla ice cream for me. I'm like, hey, ice cream. Sweet, dude. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I have a similar. Yeah. One day I'm going to put out a children's book about how America turned on George Lucas. It's going to be a very it's a pointed metaphor. Anyway,
and he'll be like, "Yeah, it was hard." And then I realized I had $8 trillion.
Yeah,
and
I couldn't. I was trying to move the money so I could read the reviews, and I was like, it's just too much of it.
I couldn't hear all the yelling was muffled.
It chills when Rey gets a lightsaber. Besides that, dude, yeah, I don't know. Really like those lightsabers. It did surprise me how they wrote Luke. Sure. Hey, what's up, Lizad? F12 Chartreux. Thank you for the follow. But the reason people feel so strongly about it, which I can appreciate, right, is that I mean it like people talk about how Superman and Batman, how superheroes are the American mythology, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, like Superman and Batman are essentially, you can make that argument because they've been around since the 30s and 40s. Everyone knows the story. Mm-hmm. They are as iconic. Star Wars is every bit as much like a part of our mythology. I mean, Absolutely. Like it is the hero's journey, right? Which is but it's translated for a an American movie-going audience, and it has that level of, I mean, they were purposely based on archetypes, but they are themselves archetypes. Mm-hmm. They have become now sort of the symbols of those archetypes.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It's just, I mean, it is...
your Luke character, your Han character.
Exactly. Yeah, Han Solo. I mean, how many...
Your roguish... Yeah.
How many characters are just dying to be Han Solo?
Anybody who says scoundrel, I'm like, oh, you want a Han Solo type.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, down to as I mean, like Nathan Fillion, anything Nathan Fillion's ever played, which is also great because it's like, yeah, that's
Absolutely.
Fun. Sure, like that's fun. I'm on board with that because I haven't really seen Firefly, but like
I've heard that it's and I've heard it's good.
And it's like, yeah, I'll see that character over, and he was just based on, roguish gunfighters.
Yeah, he was like
Space Cowboys. Right?
Yeah, Space Cowboy.
Yeah. The characters there from Ray and Kylo that throw away side plots. The last movie's gonna have to pick up the slack with the middle movie. I don't know. Yeah.
Didn't they push forward the relations of the main cast? I thought Luke was good, and that the Ray and Kylo plot was fantastic. I actually loved all that when they.
I love Ray and Kylo. Yeah,
man. Was then busting up the main cast and not letting them grow together. Yeah, I mean,
sure. Star Wars fan than Marvel, but Infinity War got me excited for Avengers 4. I still need to see that. People eat that slow burn, basically. No forward development. Oh, people eat that slow burn, basically no forward development set up, though. Otherwise, Game of Thrones wouldn't be popular. But they don't, though, because when people do it, I don't know. That is the aesthetic now. It's like, I mean, in some ways, it's weird. Because I look at what's popular, and those things are incredibly popular, and people complain about them. And then I look at movies that are doing the things that seem to be what people are asking for from their blockbusters to be good movies, and no one goes to see those movies. And I'm like,
yeah,
what?
Well, there's no. I mean, that's the thing. It's just like, I can understand if people have minor quips and issues with like Last Jedi, like you would have with any movie, because everybody's entitled to their own opinion and no one's gonna agree on everything. But like the amount of vitriol that was coming out against this movie, I was just like, it was completely uncalled for. Yeah. I mean, like, I can completely admit that, like, they had a whole casino sequence where they went to like a casino planet. And I was just like, you could have completely taken that out, and you could have done some other things and like some other plot points. But on the whole, like, as just a movie, it delivered everything I wanted a new Star Wars movie to have. It had heart. It had characters and great character moments. It had that whole where she light speeded right through everything, which literally we saw it in a theater full of critics, and people, other critics who never say anything, were just like, someone said, a couple of people were like, gasping. Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
one guy went, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those moments. It is one of
my jaw was on the floor.
It is one of the most,
and people hated that apparently.
Cinematically.
I don't get it. How? It's just like, what? Do you not like fun? Do you not like new, interesting ideas? Or it doesn't fall into canon? It doesn't, And I'm like, no, it does, and it's fine.
Yeah, and also it's just one of the most sensorily overwhelming, just impactful moments I've ever had in a movie theater.
Just beautiful.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
It's just beautiful.
No command. Oh, pun. Oh, we don't have a pun command. Maybe we don't. A lot of haters just said it was too much. The thing is, and that's more a comment. That's more a function of the way the internet is. You know what I mean? It's
and
just,
it is.
It's like it's way easier to. It's a much more powerful position to trash something.
Well, no one's critiquing the movie that's been made. Everyone's critiquing it against what's in their head that they've built up.
Exactly.
And nothing's ever everything's perfect in your head.
Yeah, that definitely sucks. Some media geek about. I saw that she left the Killing Mary Tran. Yeah, that was awful. That's the best. Yeah, the internet won't overreact, and who will? Yeah, exactly. Like it's just people want to. I don't know. It's an attention-getting thing. It's like if you step out and go, "Well, I'm going to be the first one that says this is crap," because whatever, because this plot thing didn't make sense, and this one, and I'm going to go back and watch A New Hope.
Yeah,
go back and watch it. Like and just pick it apart the way you
pick apart Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah,
and see how well that movie holds up.
If a new and it and I mean and you're not saying that from a like you're not saying
no. Pick apart Raiders. Yeah. Raiders falls apart real quick. Yeah. And it's one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah, and I think, dude, like I was watching this movie and just watching that last whole scene, you know, and like he's like, is that shot's impossible? And Luke goes, no, it is. And I used to bullseye womp rats on this something, and I go, okay, that's for later. But I mean, in the moment you don't know.
Yeah.
And then he just goes down, and then like it's like whoa, and then he takes the force off and shoots it, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it just goes pew pew, and then boom, and they're like, we're getting out of there. People would have torn that apart.
Oh, it would have been like that is a bunch of bullshit.
They're like, oh, because he like I can literally see the comment that goes, oh, because he can quote bullseye womp rats. He can make a something LMFAO trash. It's like
worst movie ever.
Gosh, darn it! It's like it's part of their identity. They can't pick it apart. Else they have to admit their entire persona isn't built on immaculate. Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing is that like, I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like I don't know. We live in.
It's why it's very easy for me to take like if I ever do something I put online, It's very easy for me to ignore the criticism, like the super harsh criticism that's uncalled for, and then just take the stuff that's kind, because I'm like, well, someone took the time out of their life to write something nice, and I'm like, that's really appreciative. I'm glad they enjoyed it. And if someone writes something like 6 paragraphs about why they hate it, I'm like, well, it clearly it did something to them. So I got to take that as a plus too. And then you can walk away and not get mad about anything.
Yeah. You could definitely say we didn't need the milking scene because we did not need the milking scene, but it's fine.
But that's the thing.
It's fine.
Like,
that's
like
part of Star. It's Star Wars.
Star Wars.
It's very Star Wars.
When people got so upset at that, I was like, but that's that to me, I was like, that's Star Wars. Yeah. That little silly stuff. That's what makes that universe work. It's all that little shit of going into a cantina and seeing a weird guy with a butt on his chin, and then his arm gets cut off, and you're like, who was that guy? That was weird. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's just there. It's just what it is.
Power converters. I mean, instead of being something like, we all love that movie, and we all love that line because it's stupid, that would have been the one of 3 reasons that people say that The Last Jedi is the worst movie.
Yeah,
because he has that part where he goes, "I want to go to Tashi Station and pick up power converters."
It's so weird.
Like, shut your mouth. Like the original featured a brother and sister kissing. People act like reason X, Y, and Z is what makes Last Jedi bad and what makes it ruin the series. Like the original trilogy is great, but it has its flaws. The thing is. Everyone's like, Rey is such a Mary Sue, but Luke Skywalker is the OG Mary Sue.
It's so true.
What's a Mary Sue?
I don't know. I'm assuming bland, lead character.
Yeah. Luke Skywalker is, goodness. I mean, good. Oh, thanks, F12. Let's crucial movie story for it. We're going to spin off about these power converters. A Gary Lou. Hey, porgs are silly. He's titty squeezing some flop cow. Flop cow? Next time I really want to cut someone's knees out, I'm gonna be like, shut up, you flop cow. That's the best thing I've ever heard, Soy. Good gravy. That's fantastic. Hey, look, you're not a weird sticky uncle. Flop cow. It was just, oh gosh. Goodness, that's on the level of slunt. I just wildly disagree. The ABC plot decision decided to go with because the cast being divided up. Is a good pick, or Abrams left off and a sequel. A standalone movie is pretty good. It's a functional sequel. I really do not think it's a job. Okay, that's totally fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't like Force Awakens. I was just like, you're just retreading. So I was just so excited to see. I understand that he did some retroactive like course correcting where he just kind of Ryan Johnson just kind of did his own thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess I just wanted that. I don't know. I watched that entire movie and I was like, I loved everything about it. Sure. And there were some issues I had, but I was like, flaws and all, I'm into it.
OP characters' abilities. Mary Sue's character that everyone loves and receives everything like power and whatnot without earning it. Mary Sue's perfect character basically as a viewer and started this in 2000. Amazing. Everyone wants to bang me. I can do anything. I'm special.
Gotcha.
So like Harry Potter. Right? I mean, like, yeah. But like, to me though, you watch like part of the charm of Star Wars is that like you're like, gosh, I hope I wouldn't be like Mark Hamill, but like I probably would because he's a whiny little bitch. And then he gets like he goes from this whiny little kid and then becomes a hero.
They would watch the first one because he was a real whiny.
Yeah, kind of like Anakin Skywalker as a kid. Everyone ripped apart that 5-year-old.
And he never recovered, by the way. Like, didn't he have to go into a psychiatric ward?
Did he?
Yeah, I think so.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That is a child.
He said it really messed him up.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
He's like, he and Jar Jar Binks are the reason people say they hate that movie and George Lucas destroyed their childhood. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg created your childhood.
Like, how do you justify that? How do you justify that level of like fandom? It's insane.
He got a DUI in Charleston. Make postcards. That's amazing. King Neckbeard, 19 months, and you ain't no rock and roll. For example, make characters to save a town in order to do. We got.
Yeah.
Now. Thank you for the subscription. Thank you so much, King Neckbeard. Lots and lots of love, my friend. Thank you for those 19 months. 19 freaking months. Goodness gracious.
19 months and I ate those damn olives, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, boy. 2001: A Sub Odyssey. Yeah, exactly.
But do you think Star Wars is the... Do you think Star Wars created this type of intense fan culture that we now find ourselves in?
Sure. Like, I mean, like...
I'm trying to think of anything came before that had this, like... Because, I mean, it became a thing.
I mean, I think
were Trekkies...
I was going to say, that's the other one. Like,
were they already formulating? Because I knew... Because wasn't Star Trek, like... It did okay, and then it went away. Like, they did 3 seasons or 4, and then it went away.
Oh, I don't know this.
And then it didn't become big till...
After Star Wars?
Like 5 years later or something?
I don't know.
And people are like, like, we want this back.
Yeah.
I thought it was something like that.
Sure. No, yeah. I've never heard that, but sure. Can I see both of you seen Connect Star Wars Dancing Games rendition of I'm Han Solo? And if you haven't... Star Trek has intense. Yeah, those are the two things that like. And I think they're the kind of like prototypical like fan who like not only is like ravenous about it, rabid, but also like knows everything about it and will be like, actually, when this happened, this is more like a whatever.
Right.
And will take the creator to task about it.
And why do you think that's... Where do you think that comes from? It's just a fascinating thing to like break down, to be like, you've been given something.
Yeah.
You've been given a piece of art by someone who created, by an artist.
Yeah.
For your enjoyment.
Yeah.
And
thank you, the dog boss.
And then people they grow so attached to it because they like it so much.
Which is, what a greater... Is there any greater form of flattery or no knowledge of your success that someone would take ownership of that thing, would love it so much that they take ownership of it to the point that they would
chastise the creator of it
and be like, you are a monster. You were the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I hate George Lucas more than... it's like people feel
bizarre,
that way.
Yeah.
People feel that way. And it's just like, dude.
Dude. And it's weird because like even Simon Pegg used to be like that. And as he got older, he was like, I was way... like now that I've done a bunch of shit and worked with a bunch of people, I was like, I was so harsh on someone who just all he wanted to do was try to make something cool, and he put it out into the world and we responded to it and we loved it. Yeah. And he was the one who created it, and like now we're just ripping it apart because he didn't. Again, it's that thing where you have the perfect movie in your brain. Yeah. And even if you have that, do you know how hard it is to make translate what's in here to what's in reality.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing to do.
That's the thing where like it's like no, like no one who is screaming about it that much, or like the vast majority of the people who are like they don't have any idea what it takes to make. And no one, like, making a movie is so incredibly hard. Making a movie that makes sense from start to finish is incredibly difficult.
Right.
Making something like Star Wars, I can't imagine.
I would never want that job.
That is something. I mean, that's almost like the Sistine Chapel kind of like
Well,
almost. It's like it's insanity.
You're operating at a level where you are trying to make an artistic thing, and yet you have a fan culture, cultural impact, and then you have a corporation overseeing you where this has to work, this has to make money, and it seems like you're just being thrown into a meat grinder where how are you supposed to appease anyone?
Absolutely. And then yeah, like, I mean, you got the studios from one side and you've got the fans on the other side. I mean, it's just crazy. We're not really allowed to do this cheesy powerling. Oh yeah, okay. You're saying that Ray didn't. I had no problem with Ray, but and the thing is, and Blitz, because by the way, I know we're kind of going like, screw you if you. It maybe sounds like I'm going like, screw you if you don't like the new movies. I'm not saying that at all. Like,
no.
And what you're
not at all. No.
And the objections you're raising make perfect sense. But that's what I'm saying is like, I don't hear most people making objections like if people were like, because really the only two reactions to a movie are I connected with it and I didn't connect with it. Like that's it. Like I'm with it or I'm not. And if I'm not, I have to analyze why and kind of go, did it do things? Did it lose me? Where did it lose me? Blah, 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 blah. Why did it lose me? And it's not, oh, that this plot point doesn't quite connect, or that doesn't, the way this element worked in space doesn't correlate with the way it, if you're thinking about that kind of stuff, it's already lost you. There's already a disconnect, right? And I don't hear people going, well, like talking about the craft of it, because I think people either can't articulate that, or they're not responding to that. They're just going, it's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted, which was exactly what I had, but again, but entirely different. Mm-hmm. You have to shock me and surprise me and take me on a ride that I was not expecting, all the while I'm fully expecting it, and also it has to be exactly like it was. But I mean, it's just insane. It's just insane. Didn't see that The Last Jedi is worth watching. I loved it. I loved it. Like, totally had a great time. Just a heck of a time in the theater. Yeah.
And when he walks out at the end, like, and he does that whole thing where he's standing in front of those AT-ATs and smoke clears and he emerges and everything with Leia, and it like when he walked out and when Luke walked out and stood in front of those AT-ATs before his showdown with Kylo Ren, and he's like shoot him, and like they put all the bullets in and everything, or all the lasers at him. That felt like
I want to rewatch it now.
That was the first time in this new series. Well, Han Solo's death scene in Force Awakens. Those two moments, I felt lived up to. It was like looking at when you would read Star Wars books. I read a lot of Star Wars books as a kid, and you'd see these drawings and things, and I was like, wow, that looks like a legendary type moment. Like that's the myth come to life. Like, I would love to know what got to that photo there. Yeah. And there are moments like when Han Solo walks out onto the bridge before to meet Kylo. Oh, yeah. And there's just this beam of light coming down. And I was like, that looks like that mythological moment that I had read about, through my childhood and just read on the page in books. And then again in Star Wars, when he walks, or in Last Jedi, when he walks through the smoke and he just stands before these AT-ATs and he just kind of flicks his, and which I liked how funny they made him. I enjoyed that because I don't know. I always found Luke kind of a bland guy anyway. So I was like, when they built up the moment to the handing over the lightsaber in Force Awakens, and then they opened the movie with him taking it and tossing it. People hated that. And I was like, that's exactly what I wanted, because what he was saying with that, he was like, we're doing something different. Get on board or get out. But yeah, I don't know.
And also, I mean, that's a bold moment, and you go, what happens after that?
Yeah.
What the crap? Yeah, I think it's the biggest problem with people who aren't happy with the new movies. They have expectations of the storyline and seem disappointed. They can't take it for what it is.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, the thing is like, but it's not like people are being jerks because they want to be. They just want what this was, right?
Night,
they
Madeline.
want this same. All right, take it easy, Madeline. Thank you so much.
Thanks for all your
everything.
input. Yeah.
Great to have you.
We love
back.
having you.
Good to see you.
Alive, you are coming with me.
Thank you so much, Nile Fructose. Thank you so much for the follow. They want this experience again. They just want that experience. They want to travel back in time to 1977 and have that experience not knowing anything about it. And they can't. You can't have that again.
And you know why you can't have that again? Particularly with new Star Wars movies? Because it's the same universe that's already been established.
And also because studios and directors are monumentally concerned about what you're going to think about it.
Yeah.
So they're constantly second guessing themselves.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, it definitely is. I would love to see the stories people that hated the movies would write. Exactly. Maybe that's evil because they're not professional storyboarders, but knowing that they would be so incredibly lacking in substance would be deeply gratifying. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing is like, and I'm sure that there are like established filmmakers who love the originals and are not happy with the new ones, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things on Twitter was that there
But
is.
you don't hear any of them knocking them.
Yeah.
They're just like, because most people know how hard it is to make
a freaking
a movie from putting pen to paper
Yeah.
with an idea and
Yeah.
then getting it to release.
I mean, it's just crazy.
It's pushing something up the Mount Everest,
Yeah.
like a dead bison, just by yourself, just pushing it up all by yourself for a year and a half.
Yeah. Or alternately, trying to recruit 20 people to push bison up the hill with you.
Yeah.
And then knowing that they're there and then getting there and then the whole thing, there's an avalanche and you're like, I didn't know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I brought you on board with me to push these bison up the thing. And there's an avalanche. I'm sorry, I didn't know there's an avalanche.
Yeah.
Sorry. I feel responsible for all of them. Oh, gosh, it's going to... Oh, no, there's wolves. Of course there are wolves. Why? Oh, and then I think there'd be wolves. Okay, we got rid of
Everest
those.
wolves.
Okay,
What?
crap. Yeah, you're all hungry? I guess I should feed you because it's my fault. We'll eat one of the bison and we won't have... I mean, that's it. This is it.
Wait, aren't the bison supposed to be representative of actors?
It's
Like,
okay.
eat the actor!
Some folks tried to start a petition on GoFundMe. That's it. So, and that's it. On Twitter, there's a Twitter account that was like, we're going to remake it. And it got
What?
like tons and tons of people. And then people were like,
Remake what? Last Jedi?
Last Jedi. And we're like, we're raising money. He's like, we've got this money. Blah, 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 blah. And like Ryan Johnson like retweeted and was like, please do it. Oh, please do it.
I would love to see that. That would be fantastic. Wait, they were just going to take it upon themselves?
to remake it.
Who?
I don't know.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. And they're like,
Here's your money.
and people were like,
Oh, what? What?
and I think people like verified celebrities would come in and be like, what are you doing? Like, they're like, what? You're going to, who? And they're like, well, we have the money. And he's like, okay. And like, hey, dude, like, whatever. Maybe they're good filmmakers. Nah.
No.
But like, I don't care. That's the thing is it doesn't matter. I don't know. I was taking issue Last Jedi. I thought it was bold and really did love the big chunk. It felt like it was disregarding a lot of previous establishments. It was just essentially created a sequel. Maybe just not a fan of the decision to have the same director for all three films. Maybe I'm not crazy. Sure. I find it really interesting about TLJ that even Mark Hamill wasn't happy with Luke's character and has some arguments with the director. Sure. But I mean, that happened on... I mean, I don't know.
Also, Mark Hamill is a super opinionated guy. That's why I love him.
Fan created Last Jedi would be complete garbage. If you're gonna make anything Star Wars, at least make the holiday special. Sure.
Sure, yeah, that holiday special.
Also,
Something else.
It's interesting that you've seen it.
Oh yes,
I have not seen it.
I watched it last Christmas on Christmas Day.
It's fantastic.
And
Had you seen it before?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I had heard about it and I watched it.
Heard Jeff's and Starships in it.
It takes place on like the Wookiee planet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the Wookiee planet, it's just trees with normal houses with like stoves and it's weird.
Happy Life Day. You got to see the riff tracks of it.
I would love to see that. Yeah.
Nice. Also, notably, you say AT-AT.
Is that not true?
No, I think most people say AT-AT.
I used to say AT-AT.
I used to always say AT-AT.
And then I was corrected.
Today, for the first time, I said AT-AT of my own volition and was like, oh, hey, wait, I'm in the AT-AT camp.
It still feels weird to me, but I was corrected.
I want to say AT-AT, but I've heard AT-AT so much now that I'm kind of starting to.
I just have gone with it. But growing up, I called them AT-ATs.
Because you don't.
And then ATSTs.
There's an ATST because you don't call it ATST.
No.
So it's AT-AT.
It should be. But
It is.
apparently, like in terms of like actual canon and how you pronounce it, it's AT-AT.
And that makes sense. Like it doesn't. People.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
It's AT-AT.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is like people,
AT-AT sounds more military to me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the people in the Star Wars universe can make whatever decision they like. Like if that's just common, if that just became common to call them AT-ATs instead of AT-ATs.
Well, I'm sure some like one of the model builders who like he was like, nah, these are my bad boys. These are my AT-ATs.
Yeah. Also accepted AT-ATs. Exactly. Enter scene. Ray's dead body pulling with blood on the sands in Chaku. A generic baddie stands over as soon as he's shot by hunky cool guy Poe Dameron. Poe vaporizes baddie, and in the mist, Ray's ghost shows up in Leah bikini armor. She whispers, "You're the real Jedi, Poe, and I'm in love with you. Have my babies." End scene. Yep.
Beautiful.
I mean, that's pretty great. That's pretty good. That sounds like a nickname for the AT-AT, which is fun. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I understand everything that you're saying, Blitz. Like I even agree with a lot of it. I take movies for what they are.
Yeah.
And so like when I watched it, I was like, this is 90% exactly what I wanted to a T.
Yeah. Here's some stuff though. Part of the reason, like,
and I thought Poe was super lame in Force Awakens, and then I thought he got awesome in Last Jedi.
Exactly. Like they really are like, okay, there he is. They're just like, but the thing is like so much of the design of Star Wars is just so. That's the thing is like you watch them. Like I was watching the movie, and you can't divorce your mind from knowing it and from it being cinematic language that is in you. You know what I mean? Like I looking at everything that happens on that screen and realizing that in 1970, whatever, like it went through 3 years of pre-production. They didn't know that it was going to catch on. They didn't know. I mean, it's crazy, and it's everything from like. So I just started writing stuff down. Sorry for like. I mean, just like stuff like X-wings.
Oh yeah,
Vader.
Yeah.
I mean, like the way that
the amount of ships that are in the Rebellion.
Yes.
Like X-wings.
Yeah.
And then you've got the I used
whatever
to know
those
all
things
the names.
are. Yeah.
The Yavin ones.
Those things that look like
long
tampon.
Oh yeah.
Those things.
Yeah.
The tampons.
Damn it. YT.
Maybe.
Y-wings? Y-wings.
Are those Y-wings?
Y-wings.
Those are Y-wings? The things in the final.
Because I think they look like Ys.
Yeah, that makes perfect. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so Y-wings. What are the little ones? And it's snow speeders.
Snow speeders.
I had a snow speeder toy growing up, and like you put 2 little action figures in there, which was so cool. And it had the little. It shot a little dart with a piece of rope, so you could launch it onto an AT-AT.
And that's
it feels so good to call it an AT-AT.
Yeah,
thank God.
Yeah, we're back. But like, it's. I mean, that's the thing is that there was so much pre-production, but also so much work and love and thought and design put into it way before any cameras rolled. Or even before the scripts were nailed down, probably that is what allows. That's what makes it so deep, and that's what allowed Lucas to go, okay, cool. Now we're just going to let this camera and these people roam around in this world that I've spent all this time creating.
And they were untethered by all the baggage that came. They had no baggage. They were just like, hey, maybe we'll make we got an X-wing. I don't know. Let's make another ship. We'll call it a Y-wing. We'll do some snow speeders because we got a snow thing. Like they were just coming up with stuff, and they were completely untethered from. Well, we have this history with the Skywalker family.
Yeah.
We've got this thing called Darth Vader and the Empire and all this stuff. Like I wish they could completely divorce themselves from that entire plot line and even the Empire entirely and do something entirely new. Yeah. Completely new.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing where it's like the same thing we've been talking about, like just doing standalone Batman movies that have nothing to do and they could do that. They could just do stories in the Star Wars universe, which like Rogue One was kind of sort of like that, although it was very much
right. But it was still a self-contained thing. You know what I want to see? I want to see Dash Rendar.
Yeah.
I want a Dash Rendar focused movie
Shadow of the Empire,
from Shadows of the Empire because I played the shit out of that game growing up.
My brother played it. I played a very little bit of it. I'd love to try it. But it's yeah, like I even first, gosh darn it, let me see. I mean, just anything, like the way that all of the like every, like the rebellion soldiers look, the way that stormtroopers look, obviously, just every single bit of costuming, every single corridor. When Vader walks in to like question Leia and she's in that cell, the cell is amazing. It's got these red bars,
cool.
like it's just, oh my gosh, just everything. Obi-Wan has to go shut down a power source, and it's like. And they showed how they did it, like it's a glass painting. Yeah. It's amazing.
I know.
It's amazing.
Can you imagine having that, like owning that?
I know. And like there's,
so cool.
I was watching stuff in like the models, and there's the Millennium Falcon that's like this big, and then this big, and then this big, and this big. And you're just like, oh man, that one.
Yeah.
You're just like, but it's like,
or just
incredible.
like even little things like when they go to Tatooine and they're about to go to the cantina, or maybe afterward. And they're trying to go to the Millennium Falcon. They get stopped by the stormtrooper. He's a sand trooper. Yeah. And just the little addition of adding an orange triangular piece of pad right here and giving him a slightly larger gun and dirtying him up. Yeah. He became my favorite stormtrooper. That's awesome. Isn't that weird?
But no, it's amazing because this stuff looks amazing. And like Captain Phasma in the new ones is just like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Who cares why?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I just love that, like just watching stuff like that happen, like that scene specifically when he just goes, just that little, and you go, he just says stuff, and he's like, these aren't the droids you're looking for. Yeah, these aren't the droids you're looking for. He's like, you can let him be. He's like, let him be. He's like, move along, whatever. And you just go, that was badass.
Yeah.
And then because of the next scene, and Luke goes, boy, I thought we were done for. I don't know why they let us go. And you go, Luke, you're a little dense. Like, I know that was magic, but did you notice that everything Obi-Wan said, the guy repeated? That was amazing. Boy, I'm really surprised we got. Boy, they're really permissive around here. He's like, shut up, Luke. But you're gonna be awesome. But Snoke just took credit.
Oh boy,
what's that? But then also but there was stuff like today I was watching it, and they're at the Rebel base. Long as we watched either Zero or Specific, he was badass enough to be good bland, and I have to watch them again. Oh, you guys talking about Poe? Why Kylo and Ren were linked through the Force with Snoke. That happened, and you just take credit for it.
And here's another thing I loved about Last Jedi. I love that they made everyone like, well, they built Snoke up in the first one, then they just killed him, and I was like, good. Yeah. Because I don't need another shadowy Emperor in the background. I was like, it made me so happy, and I was like, yes, this is a movie taking chances. Yeah. That's what I got out of that. Sorry.
No, yeah.
I interrupted you. Continue.
No. Well, I was just saying, I was watching it and just trying to take in all these design details that are just like templates for everything that came behind it, came after it. You know what I mean? It's just like totally.
Yeah, it's weird because like I guess they're always introducing new ships and stuff, but like. They design wise, like it's all in that first movie.
Yeah,
all of it.
But and just the millions of movies that were inspired. I mean, like all of us have that in our heads as like, well, that's the coolest that anything can ever look in space. And just I don't. But there's just tons of stuff and like all the obvious things like C-3PO. Like that's the thing is like. Like I said, watching that Star Destroyer, the pew, and then the Star Destroyer, and then cutting into that world, and then stopping that film, and you go, what am I watching? This doesn't make sense to me, and I can't wait to see what happens next. And can you keep this up? Yes, they can. Yeah. They kept it up. And like there's stuff like there's just so much thought and so much time. And when they're at the Rebel base and the Falcon's coming in, in the special edition the Falcon comes in. And they just have that guy in the lookout perch, and it's this like sort of like champagne kind of thing, little thing like that. And I go, that's like 4.5 seconds of screen time, both times they show him. And it's something I've never seen before. Yeah. And nothing ever has looked like that, and nothing ever will again. And it's just like you go, yeah, that could have been a dude standing on a mountain keeping lookout. Yeah. But they were like, no, this one, we'll just have him in it. And it's just like that.
And I know what shot you're talking about.
Like, and you just go, that thing, and it's like not even like mind-blowing, but it's just like, that's distinct as fuck.
It's just selling it.
It is just it. It's the level, the only, like, like people, when Disney bought Star Wars, and they had like a relationship with them before because they had like this Star Tours thing at Disney World. And people were like, Disney bought Star Wars, and I go, yeah, and I get it, but like Disney is the only when I went to Disney World, that's the only other thing that I've ever seen that has that much detail.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That much where they're just like, no, excellence comes from just trying your ass off.
Yeah.
As long as you need to, until you just go, yeah, and it's real, and putting in all the, just like, because you go to Disney World and every single inch of every single anything is crafted by someone to put you into
they're the only company that could have, like, you couldn't even give this to 20th Century Fox or anything like that. Like, Disney's the only behemoth that could take this, put the money it needs.
Yeah.
Because say what you want about it, it's just like, I did not like this Han Solo individual flick. But it's crazy to me that they were just like, they fired the directors halfway through, brought Ron Howard in, and then they like, I don't know how much they reshot or whatever, but it wasn't, they were like, no, we have to do this the way we want, just to, for our sake, we have a vision for this, and we gotta stay on brand here. And I mean, that movie ended up costing like over $300 million.
Yeah.
And you're just like, no other company would. They would just be like, well, it's just going to be what it's going to be. Yeah. And granted, I didn't like the final product, and it felt kind of wishy-washy, and it felt like two directors had come in, and you could almost see the moment when Ron Howard takes over. Yeah. But it's still kind of admirable. I believe that they want to put out good movies. Sure. I believe that. I think they want to put out Star Wars movies that people like and respect. Yeah. But they also want to make a lot of money. Yeah.
I have to go to the bathroom real quick because I'm doing damage to myself right now.
Cool.
I'll be right back.
I'm gonna read through what everyone's saying, and then I'm gonna talk about it.
It's you know that moment when you go like, oh, I've waited too long, and it hurts.
Yeah, I can see it because there's a stain.
Oh yeah, it's happening. All right, I'll be back. Good. You're so bad.
I'm annoyed when people want more Snoke. I've definitely chosen not to say anything when people are like, blah, they just killed him, and I'm screaming in my head. Sometimes people just die before they expect. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I thought. It's nice. It's nice when it's just like, well, he wasn't supposed to die. He's supposed to die in the third act. I'm like, well, sometimes he dies in the second act, in the second movie, and that's just the way it goes. Because, like, you know, by the end of the movie, when what happens to Luke, what happens, and his arc is essentially rounded out and completed, I was not expecting that at all. And I don't even know if I was enjoying Mark Hamill's performance so much and where they were going with it that I wanted more, but they decided to cap that off. Because it felt like Last Jedi felt like Empire in terms of its darkness and the cliffhanger type stuff. But then what they did with Luke's character, I was like, oh, that's like a third movie resolution. But that was their choice, and I'm just excited. I'm a little bummed that Abrams is taking over again for Episode 9. But hopefully it all kind of pans out. I'm way more excited for Rian Johnson's take on a completely brand new trilogy where we can just go kind of start fresh. Hopefully he can kind of nix any of the extra baggage, and he can just have the freedom, because he's a very talented director, and I hope he can just be given the freedom to do what he needs to do, because I think that dude can deliver. Like, I really do.
Thank you. That's really kind of you to say.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of experience.
I was talking about in the toilet there. I think you did.
Yeah. That guy produces. That guy will. He is a productive. What the mother. Hold on. Gotta fix the Starfield here. Star Wars ILM level effects here. Sweet mother of mercy.
I'm definitely not one of those how did Rey beat Kylo in a duel kind of people, but man, I've definitely found myself on the fence with several decisions being made. Maybe I don't actually like Star Wars.
No, I feel like you probably like your idea of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
It's cool to disagree with it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's fine.
And
it's just to have the level of hate that was thrown at it. You can not, I mean, if you just genuinely don't like the movie, then that's just art, man. Yeah. Like, you can like whatever you want to like, you can hate whatever you want to hate. It's when people are like, you owed us a different movie, and it's like, no, they have every right to make whatever they want to make, and you're just fortunate enough to be able to watch it.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess, and I get it. Like, I mean, you can just feel in your soul that they did not nail it, and then they didn't stay true to what you love about the film, and that is 100% right. You know what I mean? Like, no one is right, no one's wrong about this. Like, if I, I mean, there are movies that if people started to remake them, they're getting fewer and fewer now, because I'm just kind of like, all right, everything's fair game, and I just have to like turn my heart off and not care
about remakes. And stuff?
Yeah. Like, there are fewer and fewer, but like there are some movies that I'm like, don't touch that, don't touch it. And so I get it, like, obviously, right? Like, and Star Wars is that for so many people. I just think that there is a healthy level of perspective to have about it when you're an adult. You know what I mean? Like, and just realize that on the other end. And the other thing is, like, I don't even care. Like, obviously you can scream, like, you can scream and yell and eviscerate films as much as you want. But the difference now in the world is that people write it out and it's there forever on the internet, and then it feeds more of that, and blah 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 blah, and everyone gets this mini soapbox without earning it. And not that whatever, but and just to realize that on the other end of this thing is a human being who's working really hard to deliver something that makes everybody happy because they loved Star Wars and they were a kid. You know what I mean? It's just,
I feel like there's this gap where
Back to the Future, boy.
What?
No.
They're not doing that, are they?
No. He said if they did.
Oh, dude. They can't. They wouldn't do that. Do you think they would do that?
They would do anything. There are very few things that I don't think they'll remake The Godfather. I don't
know why. I just feel like Back to the Future seems off limits. Like, I don't think they touched that. Do you think they would
I
do
thought
that?
RoboCop was off limits. But
that's that's more culty.
Sure. Yeah, Back to the Future.
If they did that,
that'd be insane.
I would be online with everybody else.
Yeah.
Joining in.
Well, and the thing is, like,
that would be a super bummer.
That's the thing, though. Like, I think that if they did something like that, and you felt that way, I feel like there's just some level of going, like, look, and acknowledging that, like, I'm just opposed to the idea in general. Like, you know what I mean? Just some level of, like,
sure.
I hate this, but I hate it in concept. I hate
sure.
it, like, as opposed to, like, these people were like, nah, like, I was on board to love it, but then, like, this thing didn't, like, when in this ship battle, like, they just whatever, like, these, and you go, like, no, man, that's not your problem. Like,
yeah,
it really isn't.
Right.
It really isn't, because I don't know. Any thoughts on Return of the Jedi behind the scenes stuff? I feel like it could have been a stronger film if Gary Kurtz had not had a falling out with Lucas and had a huge part. So, man, I watched Return of the Jedi, I think maybe before Last Jedi. Like, I skipped through it to try to get into that, because I was like, I don't know, because I wanted to brush up on some Han and Leia stuff, or I don't know, I skipped through it just to watch it, and there's a whole Han and Leia relationship element to that movie that I'd totally forgotten, and it's some of the best stuff in the series to me. Like, I'm like, oh gosh, that's where you really get to see their
connection,
their relationship, their connection to each other, and I just was like, oh, that's great. That's some of the best acting, some of the best on screen,
like hanging on the in the trees and the
I can't even. I just remember, like, just just they truly care for each other. Absolutely.
What was
up, Sea-Dog?
What was Gary Kurtz gonna bring to the table? I had heard, because I had heard that they were gonna go for a much darker ending, and I love my dark endings, but like, I don't understand how on earth you could end the movie with what I had, and that could have been rumor, but I heard that there was gonna be another kind of thing where, like, they lost or something, and like they didn't win at the end, and I was just like, but Lucas was like, no, that's because he was like, I want to sell more toys, and it's got to end on an upbeat ending. That could be a very cynical rumor.
Killing off Han. Well, yeah, because, like, he wanted him to kill him off.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I had heard about that. I heard Harrison Ford was way game for that.
Yeah,
he wanted to be killed.
Yeah. Which, like, it's crazy. Like, when that happened in the latter films, I was not ready for that at all because it didn't even cross my mind. And everyone else was like, "Oh, well, we knew that was going to happen, obviously." And I was like, "It didn't even occur to me. I didn't even think about that." And so when it happened, I was like, "Oh gosh, did they what?" And so, like, I feel like maybe I'm the only adult person in America who had that reaction.
That is because that's cool. That's cool.
So we're gonna say sorry. It's Du Bois. Oh man, check source on Wikipedia's pronunciation. Really? What's up? How you doing? Also, I chat. Jeff wasn't supposed to say anything, but Lobro said he can't do Judge Dredd filmography episodes.
Whoa!
Can't grasp the true greatness of it.
We can talk about this right now.
This is not
because I absolutely can grasp the greatness of it, and we will absolutely do an episode out of maybe spite, but we're doing one.
I don't know.
I love that movie. I've
really?
seen that movie five
Really?
times now.
The original Judge Dredd?
With Stallone?
Yeah.
Is that the original?
I've never seen it.
Oh, because there's the new one with
Yeah.
the tower, which is also really good.
Yeah, I've heard that's really good. Carl
No,
Urban, man.
the Stallone version is fucking
Later MM7.
badass.
Seriously, that's awesome.
I am the law. And then Asante goes,
Yeah. Serene, I don't know. Every filmography is like why? What is the best film and why is it Judge Dredd? And why do you not understand what the Judge Dredd is the best film? And I'm like, I haven't seen it. I don't know what you're talking about. And it is like, it's just this.
No,
thing.
Judge. I love it. I love that they put It's just. I have a special affinity for 90s movies.
Sure, absolutely.
80s too, but 90s
baby.
is like, and even 90s bad movies.
Yeah.
And I also have a real affinity for Stallone's entire career. Like, I don't know, we're gonna have to do Cobra at some point.
Yeah,
because
sure.
Cobra is next level. Like, it's awesome and it's terrible and it's amazing, and it's just watching his career is like watching a guy get all the power that one can have in Hollywood and not having enough artistry to like navigate through it. And so he's just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and that's how you get fucking Tango and Cash, where the movie opens with him going, "Let's do this," and then the credits start, and then the music kicks in, and it's just and Demolition Man is like a fascinating case. Demolition Man's a badass movie, but it's weird and it's all over the place.
Crazy. I'd have to rewatch that, but yeah.
And he's got so many movies like that, and Judge Dredd is absolutely one of them.
Yeah. I am the law.
Yeah, and like when he's when he him and Sydow are like they have their big emotional, like there's a death scene at
Max
some
von
point.
Sydow is in
Judge
in
Dredd?
Yeah. I've never seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, wait, I thought you were defending it.
No, huh? No, I haven't. This is a joke. This person is joking completely when they're saying that I said that you can grasp the. I didn't say anything about that. Serena's just very much like Judge Dredd all the time, and I'm like, I haven't seen it.
Oh, now I don't know what to say.
Well, no.
We're gonna watch it though.
Yeah.
And the fact that you haven't seen this, oh, you're gonna love it.
Okay.
I mean, you're gonna hate it.
No, I will. No, I'll probably.
But you're gonna love it.
I'll love it. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah.
It's great.
No problem. No,
I totally misread that. I'm so sorry.
No. No, I need to see it. I think.
But that is like go watch what Serena says is like he just goes for it.
Sure.
That's Stallone in a nutshell.
Three shells though.
Especially in the 90s, he was just like, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And I've got all the power in Hollywood, and I'm like 5'7", and I'm
like
gonna go for it.
Schwarzenegger's doing this, and I'm just gonna whatever.
He's like, and you know what though? I'm gonna acknowledge that in my movie.
Yeah.
So you know what? Put a little line about Schwarzenegger in Demolition Man. Just put it in there.
Right.
And then you know what?
I gotta rewatch Demolition Man.
And then Schwarzenegger's like, you know what? Put a little something in Last Action
Hero. Last Action Hero. Now, Last Action Hero.
It's a great movie.
Is fantastic.
It's great.
Except for Leo Lafart. That's really weird.
Who's Leo Lafart?
There's the.
Is that the cat?
No, that's great.
Yeah. It's
there's the mob funeral they go to, and there's a. Bomb.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess it's in a movie, so it's okay. But the character name is Leo Lafart.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
You know the scriptwriters.
Shane Black.
Yeah, but like
people.
the two guys who came up with the original script, they're like, yeah, it's not exactly how we envisioned it turning out. Because Shane Black took it.
Yeah.
And then he rewrote it.
Yeah.
Apparently he wasn't very nice about it either.
No.
But, I don't know. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Freaking last section here is amazing. It's amazing. It's like one of the best. I don't know. I just love it. I love it.
But anyways, back to Star Wars.
Yeah. Do the last. Yeah, we're gonna watch the last section here. Yeah. Leo the Fart is gonna pass gas. What? Leo the Fart is gonna pass gas one more time. Man. Yeah, I love when he meets himself. Oh, it's so great. Gosh,
Oh yeah, the Hamlet
yeah.
movie with trailer or whatever.
To be, not
it's
to
great.
be, not to be. It's great.
It's great.
It's amazing. Also, Ian McKellen is in it. Very
Oh,
very
as
young.
the Seventh Seal.
As Death, yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Tom Noonan is great as the Ripper.
I always thought it was he is great.
I love him as the Ripper.
It was weird to me that they chose, of all the movies they could have parodied, and I want to know, what was your stomach?
That was my Leo the
It
Fart.
sounded
Leo the
like
Fart.
it was your butt, though.
Yeah, it was a little of both.
Of all the movies that they could have like referenced at the end, and I'm sure that there had to have been some legalities and play at what movie characters they could bring out of the screen into real life. I just thought Seven Seal was really obscure.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I got it, but
Yeah.
like, I was just like that. That sounded so.
No,
bad.
no.
It did.
It didn't. It didn't.
It did.
It didn't
And
at
you
all.
know why I did?
What?
Because you went like this.
No.
Son of a bitch.
No, it didn't. I was.
And I heard it, and I heard it out loud, and I was like, that doesn't
See?
sound great.
See.
But here's the thing, guys. I own a lot of Criterion movies.
No, the thing is, it didn't. But then I was like, oh, that's a thing that I could make a joke out of to make it sound like it did, and then it turned into a thing. So I'm sorry. There's a real in-depth article I read about the making of Last Action Hero. Well, I would love to read that. Oh man.
Yeah, I think.
Somebody,
I think
will you send that to me?
I think
whisper that to me. I'd love to see that.
I think that's what I read too, and I think
Oh.
that's where I understood that the writers about the Shane Black thing and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's so great about when it's just sort of lampooning of Hollywood. It's just, I don't know, I just love how, there's like, everyone's number starts with 555. What's wrong with you? And he's like, it's like there can only be this many. He's like, that's why we have area codes. It's great, so great, so amazing.
What happened to that kid?
I don't know. It was great. Danny
He was
Madigan.
good. I thought he was good.
That's not his real name. I don't know. I think there's like maybe one other thing that he's in that I can't remember, but yeah, we need to do like do we? I don't know. We need to, but we could do a series on like the great child actors of the 90s and do like the Good Son, because you knock out 2 there.
Yeah.
And then
Mercury
Dick
Rising.
Tracy. Who's in Mercury Rising?
Is the kid from Dick Tracy and Hook?
He isn't Hook.
Okay, cool.
That kid. He's like. We should do that. We should do a child actor off and find out who is the best child actor of the 90s.
Haley Joel Osment is probably the best
I guess
one.
that counts. That counts because that's late.
Oh, are you
it's
talking about
99.
80s?
No, I was saying
Or
90s. Because that's
No,
like
that's
that's
in the
99 or 98 or 99.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you got like Joseph Mazzello, who's in Jurassic Park and Radio Flyer with Elijah Wood.
Okay. God, Elijah was just in everything.
Elijah was. And
There was a kid who's in that movie Mercury Rising. Is it Mercury Rising? Or...
is it Brad Renfro? No.
No.
Oh, man, because he's up for it.
You'll know him. It's a Bruce Willis movie, right?
He's in My Girl too. It is. I don't know much about Mercury Rising. I remember the cover vividly.
Yeah. Hold on, because you know this kid.
That kid went on to do a movie for Moonbeam called Prehysteria. Interesting. What's Moonbeam? Is that a production house? I've not heard of that. He was in My Girl too. Danny Madigan was in My Girl too. I think that's the one. Scarlett Johansson was a child actor. She was in Horse Whisperer, but that's like 2000s, I think.
Miko Hughes.
Oh,
Pet Cemetery.
is it the kid
Mercury
from
Rising,
Liar Liar?
Kindergarten Cop. Apollo 13.
Gosh,
The
so
door. You know, it's like, it's just.
I can't
Was
remember.
there a fire? God, he was in fucking everything.
What is
Hold on.
You gotta find an image of him.
These are old images of him.
Oh,
There's got to be a young. Oh, come on. Yeah, this kid.
yeah! Oh my gosh, he was like more of a.
He was in everything, I felt like.
I just specifically remember him from Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop, yeah.
Yeah.
But Pet Cemetery, yeah.
And there's a kid from Liar Liar who was in who was in like Home Alone 3. You know.
By the way, they're having a sale at Target on the Home Alone.
Okay.
I've been streaming. I've rented Home Alone and Home Alone 2 for the past 6 years, and finally they had a sale where each one was $6, so I bought them today, and I'm like, finally, whew, it's off my plate.
Yeah, I love. Gosh, I can't wait to. I want to watch Home Alone like right now. Yeah. Movie was a family-friendly spinoff of Full Moon. Are you serious? That's hilarious because Full Moon did all the like horror movies and like softcore stuff. Boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. That kid, absolutely. That's gonna make not any sense to anyone who has not seen Kindergarten Cop. And
yeah. Sorry.
My dad is a gynecologist and he looks at vaginas all day long. It's great.
You just make your own Home Alone movies, snuff films.
Sure. Huh? Who? He. Yeah. You're right. Exactly. Yeah. It's not like Straw Dogs.
Yeah, Straw Dogs. Right.
Anyway. Back to Star Wars.
So
Star Wars is great, and it's great.
It
really, truly is great because that's the thing is, sorry.
And it's great.
And the thing is, like, I came into this kind of going like, yeah, I'm always like, whenever Star Wars comes up, I'm always like, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I watch this and I go, Star Wars is amazing.
It's amazing. But here's the thing, I still to this day, I love Star Wars, but I still almost focus all my energy and attention on the original trilogy.
Yeah.
You know, I watched the new ones. I've watched the prequels, but as much as it has to do with storytelling, the other major thing is it's just like those were made within like a 10-year period where the look and feel of them have everything to do with why it has a special quality to it.
Absolutely.
Because like when you look at those asteroid scenes in Empire Strikes Back, and they're just flying through flying through and navigating through, and John Williams' score is going, and you're realizing that they're doing this all physically, and it's all done with models and props and just true ingenious new techniques to figure out how to piece it all together.
Yeah.
There's a quality to it that you're never going to get because everything is so polished and you can do anything now.
Yeah.
And because you can do anything, because everything's amazing, nothing's amazing.
Yeah.
So, which is why storytelling has to be first and foremost of utmost priority, especially these days, because no one's wowed anymore.
Yeah.
Because it just happened to be a double whammy where this movie wowed because it was doing things technologically speaking that no one had ever done.
Yeah.
And then it had a story, an emotional, heartfelt story to follow to back it up,
and a design palette that was just
next level.
I mean, just
like beyond.
And it may have been pilfered from other places, but that's what art is, man.
Always
is. You just take inspiration from different places and you filter it in. I mean, it's what the Matrix was. I mean, it's like
yeah.
I mean,
and when you do it correctly, you land and you land at the right moment, and it does well, and it's just yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit private music. Like it was something big and memorable. That's not the style now. That's not the style. Nobody just go wants tones and whatever, which is great for what it is. But like, no one has these great orchestral, thematic scores. You know, it's just.
I'll give. I've fallen off the M. Night Shyamalan wagon for the past few movies, but I will give him credit for one thing. That dude loves to make he's insistent on it. Like he'll go to James Newton Howard, his composer, and he'll be like, I want a theme.
Yeah.
I want something that people will hum on the way out of the theater. And I listen to movie soundtracks a lot, and
Signs is a great one.
Signs and Unbreakable and Sixth Sense, like and my goodness, The Village. Like it is jaw-droppingly beautiful music.
Dropping bombs in space, not rocket propellers and messages. Sure. Yes, the dog boss. Sure. No, I don't know. Sure, that makes sense. That makes sense as a quibble. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's what opens the movie, and I was like, that can't happen. And here's the other thing. That sequence was amazing.
It truly was. Yeah, gosh. Yeah, man. Talk about pulse pounding. Goodness.
Yeah.
Something that like I think. It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because I think it is again like people are going like, are we going to have another Star Wars? And I think it's just going to be it's going to be groundbreaking in a different way. You know what I mean? You're not going to out Star Wars. And the reason, like you said, Star Wars looked because in so many ways, as we talked about, it was antithetical at least in spirit, sort of, in some ways, to what was happening at the time, the gritty realism that we saw from the New Hollywood movement. But it looked realistic. It looked grounded. The things that were happening were with assiduous detail, like made to look grounded and real in the place that they were happening. Does that make sense? Like, it was fantastic, but it wasn't like, hey, it's a fantasy, we can have silly stuff. It was like, no, we're going to make it look scientific, for a lack of a better... I mean, it just looked real, and that's what it is. I mean,
everything had weight to it.
Yeah,
everything moved with some weight.
Exactly, and that translates to the amount of time put into creating a story, again, that exists independent of, like, a place that exists independent of this movie that's happening. It's this movie is happening in this universe, which is the truly amazing piece of writing.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. That's what separates Star Wars, and it's just one of the great world building exercises or examples in media, in storytelling. And another thing that Star Wars does exceedingly well, I was watching it, and like, I mean, I'm telling you, like, you know, the thing, like I said, that first shot, and then you go, what? And then it cuts in there, and then like, wow, where am I? And the amount of, like, I don't know. Sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, and you can feel the screenwriter going like, all right, here's a bad situation. They're going to get out of it eventually in this way. That's kind of far-fetched. So we'll give them some obstacles here so that later when it happens, you go, oh, okay, they were lucky here, but they were unlucky here. Star Wars just like you're just constantly like, after a certain point in the movie, you're just like, so much stuff is going wrong, and how are you going to get out of it? And it's just great. It propels the story along. Like they're like, oh crap, we're being shot. Literally, oh, you're first of all, it's like the rebels versus the Empire. Like, okay, well, you're screwed. Well, you're gonna try to go infiltrate whatever, and it's you got to go. How are they gonna break in and rescue the princess? This is insanity. And they go, well, okay, they're dressing up. Oh crap, they're getting shot at. It didn't turn out well. This is what would really happen. You'd be in danger of being just obliterated by the vastly superior force that is in the space station that you broke into. Go down the trash chute. Okay, we're out. Oh, that was easy. No, it wasn't. This sucks. Oh gosh, this sucks. Oh, what are we gonna do? Goodness gracious. Okay. Oh, and then you know, and like 3PO over there, like, oh, they got caught. You know, like they said. Well, you know, hope they don't have guns. Well, they showed up. Oh wait, now he got away and blah 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 and that. But and it just doesn't let up.
Yeah.
You're just like, this is going wrong. This is going wrong. This is going wrong. Skin of your teeth. This is going wrong. This is going, and it's just thrilling. It's constant and it's great. And you're just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my god. To the very last minute, you're like, this is a lost cause. You are just dead.
And yet it's
and then he flips it off and goes, and it's just great.
And but it doesn't pummel you.
No. Oh
it's
no.
Not
no.
A lot of action movies these days are exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
And here's petition for rule over to recap every Star Wars movie. Yeah, in that nonsensical. Yeah, exactly. This is. Well, wait. Sorry. People are saying. You're saying nice things. So you guys talk about movies so much inside. Thank you. That's kind. Passion certainly.
Thanks, man.
Sort of badass. Yes, Poe is amazing. He's amazing in that movie. It's so dense. Every single image is so many things. Absolutely. And that's interesting because it's crazy how Brisket moves. It really does. It really is amazing, and it just moves, and it's great, and it's amazing. And I think I've said that 3 times in a row. But
that's no moon.
That's no moon. Yeah, that's a space station. What's up, sport? And then I was watching a thing because I realized probably later than I should have that what I was watching was, in fact, either the 97 or the 2011 special edition kind of whatever. And I went back and I watched sort of like a side-by-side comparison, which is really fascinating if you check it out on YouTube and see like exactly what was changed.
I would love to. I would love to watch that.
It's great. And, you know, the things that stand out are people are like, oh, my gosh, like, you know, obviously Han just the whatever that thing. And it's interesting because there have been several different versions.
This little maneuver.
Yeah, and you just go. God, some things you're just like, oh my gosh, and like having Jabba in there at all because you're like, it's awesome that you hear about him and then you don't see him until the second one, and then you go, oh, he's not a human. Like you don't know he's not.
You
human.
don't know. Yeah, it ruins the surprise.
Yeah, and then like, and it's that thing, and then in that scene, like. Some of the lines are even literally the same things that Greedo says to, he's like, I mean, it's
a superfluous scene. Like it is not needed whatsoever.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. It's speculation. But the thing is like, so there's that. And then there's, stuff where it's like they go into,
that dinosaur that they drive by.
Yeah. And then there's another just completely detached shot where it's like a little,
and they do the big like reveal of Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
And actually, Dash Rendar has already been in this universe because he's in the special edition of A New Hope.
He is?
When they reveal, I think it's during the robot hitting the head. I think that's a pan to revealing Mos Eisley. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Or it's the next shot of the preceding shot.
Definitely.
And there's a big white shot of the speeder going in, and he's leaving Mos Eisley.
No way! That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, Blubsy, thanks for the follow. See, stuff like that. And so that's what's crazy is like there's stuff like that, and everyone just kind of remembers the silly stuff and the stuff that they're just like, oh, why did you mess with it? And I'm sitting, and I was always like, let him. It's his thing. If any filmmaker, if they had the ability to go back, would do it. No, that's not true, but like. A lot of filmmakers would love that to go back and fix their films. But then watching it here, I was like, oh, no, yeah, totally. I would much rather watch the 77 version.
It dates it more.
It kind of does.
It makes it look worse.
It kind of does.
Because at least the originals are of its time and at this one fluid thing.
Yeah.
And, Spielberg learned his lesson because he did it with E.T. where he replaced the guns with walkie-talkies. And And I don't know if he said this just because the backlash was so intense, but he was like, that was a mistake. I'm not going to touch any of my stuff ever again.
Yeah.
I'm going to let it live where it needs to live.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it should be, because I think once you put it out into the universe, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that it's his stuff, so he can...
It's a living, sure.
But, I don't know.
Mocap Hitler Bogart's a punch in the face. That'd be great. That'd be something.
But this is interesting. I just realized that one of the reasons why I think my Star Wars fandom growing up was as intense as it was I got into it on my own just at that because I went and bought the VHS set and I got into it, and then right around the time I was really getting into it is when the special editions were starting to roll out. Toys were starting to come out again, and Star Wars was becoming a thing all over again. Yeah. And so for me, I just kind of timed it perfectly where I'd just gotten into it with the originals.
Yeah.
And then the special editions started to come out. And I remember going to see A New Hope in the theater and really being blown away because I was so into Star Wars at that point that seeing anything new and seeing all the new X-Wing footage during the Death Star attack at the end and being like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Look how bright those red lights in the back of the X-Wings are and stuff like that. I soaked it all up because I thought it was cool.
Well, and the thing is, that's it. Is like, again, like the special editions are about as maligned as the prequels. But you go back and watching those things side by side, I was like, a lot of these things are great. They're good additions. Like they're good changes. They change, but so two things. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I get why you did that. Sure. Yeah. And then, there's just like little stuff where like some of them are like, and obviously because it's dated special effects, it's like, yeah, those like big, like dewbacks or whatever that are going like, blah, blah, and you go, all right.
It looks terrible.
Some of it looks really pretty dated. Absolutely. But there's stuff like where it's like, it's just a scene that stormtroopers are talking. There's like a thing following with them. They're like, that's cool.
I thought all the stuff where they added the X-Wings towards the
X-Wings
Death Star,
are great. Yeah,
I thought it was great.
X-Wings are great. The Millennium Falcon does like way more impressive stuff now, and it's just like, that's great.
It's cool.
I'll watch that. Keep that in. But then also, so like a lot of it really is really incredible. Some of this stuff, like the Han stuff is like.
It's when they start messing with narrative shit.
Sure, understood, definitely. that's definitely a huge thing. But then also you watch those things and you go like, that's like one of those things where like in an edit you're doing it and you go, oh, this is experimental and brilliant, and then you look at it the next day and you go, oh, that doesn't work at all. That's ridiculous. That just threw everything off. And then they left it in.
How did they think that they were going to get away with the Greedo shot first thing?
I guess they thought because it's interesting.
It looks. I'm like, you didn't get
It's
away
good.
with it.
Yeah.
It looks awful.
Oh, and it just like at least in the. But I think it's almost like I think that is even it's almost more egregious.
But I remember watching a 2020 with Hugh Downs and
Barbara Walters,
and they used
and
to
John
have
Stossel,
and so they had a segment, and John Stossel did these Hollywood special effects segments, and it was just one-off things they would do every once in a while. My parents were way into 2020.
Yeah, 2020 is like a thing.
Yeah,
it was step by step. It was
still
TGIF in
Kelsey
2020.
Loves 2020. She loves.
It's still on.
Yeah.
Is Stossel still on it?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I love John Stossel. Can we talk about John Stossel for a second? I know.
Can we talk about? Have you ever seen the clip of him interviewing a wrestler and getting I think punched in the face?
No. But I
love John Stossel.
There's a I think yeah, because I wrote a script and put a character in specifically based on John Stossel, and I was like, and I kept players played in the movie, and I kept going like I showed him a bunch of clips of John Stossel to the point where like when we were on set, I'd be like, more Stossel, give me more Stossel, or it'd be like, well, that's interesting, isn't that stupid? But he's like, but I don't think that's really the truth at all. Seems like you're a liar. Are you a liar? Why are you lying? And it's just Stossel is so. Oh, I love Stossel.
That's great.
Anyway, gosh, super 90s out about Stossel in 2020.
But it's great.
Gotta love it.
But so he did a special.
Ahead, yeah.
So let's say I think it was him. So he did a whole segment on the special edition because A New Hope was about to come out, and they focused on the Jabba scene. Like that was the one they broke down, as it were.
Yeah.
And they were like, "It's so impressive." He was like, "Yeah, and check this out." We made him walk over. We was like, "Well, he has a tail, but the actor playing him in the original didn't have a tail, so we had to make him walk over it."
He didn't have a tail, you say? That's amazing.
And the animator, whoever they were talking to, I just remember, like, I'm embellishing this, but in my memory of it, he was just like, yeah, check this out. And it's just like this blurry version like of Harrison Ford going over him and then walking back down.
Impression, yeah.
It's just this.
He's like, look, we can do it to John Stossel right now.
And I just remember
walked
playing
over
and being like, yeah, it's really impressive what you can do with technology these days. Like they were very, very satisfied with themselves.
And as a kid, did you find it? Were you convinced by it?
I was like, that's badass. Yeah,
sure.
Because I was a kid.
Yeah. And also, that was what like
terrible. Like they've revamped it again for the DVD and
still,
Blu-ray releases. But if you watch, because I also had. I mean, again, I was all about it. So I bought the special edition VHSs too. And because the original one that they showed in theaters, that Jabba is terrible looking. Like really.
Neither of them.
For ILM, like, it's just like, what? Yeah. You guys just did the dinosaurs for Jurassic Park, like around that time. Like, how does this look that bad? It looks like a PS1 game.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no version looks good. Yeah, unfortunately, but so besides those things, besides the Han stuff,
all the superficial cosmetic enhances, it's fine. It's also it's like a Lion King situation where I'm like, what's the point? Like, why don't you just leave it alone? It's fine the way it is. It's a great movie. It's a classic.
Yeah, and I think I had to say where I was just kind of like, oh man, a lot of the stuff I'm like, yeah, cool. And then I also, but because it's a side by side. What's nice is I was like, because I was after I was aware I was watching a special edition. I was like, okay, and I was like, that looks amazing. Okay, that's probably new. Okay, whatever. It was amazing to go back and watch how much of the original stuff does look that amazing. Like,
oh yes,
you just go, oh, that's real.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff where I was like, they had like X-wings doing stuff or like whatever, and I go, oh, I guess they just probably in the original cut from this shot to this shot and didn't have that.
Yeah.
And I go, that's in there. That's amazing.
I know.
Really
yeah.
Incredible.
And there's so much stuff like that, like particularly in Jedi, where there are some shots of the Falcon towards the end. when they're heading towards the second Death Star, and like there's a shot where, let's say this is the frame, and it's flying this way, and it goes like this.
Yeah.
And it's like flying between ships, and it is so damn impressive.
I know.
To this day.
I know. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, look how bad that looks.
Really bad.
I mean, I guess that's the first one. That's the way they read.
This
one doesn't look.
I like that one better than that one, honestly.
Okay, so that's another one.
Like that one doesn't. Yeah, it looks awful. Sorry, guys. That one looks bad. That one just is like more interesting looking than I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that. It's just. I mean, you guys know what we're talking about. But boy.
Yeah.
Especially putting it next to, when you see him next to Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
He just doesn't, there's no texture on him at all.
I mean, and that's still the toughest thing in the world to do is to convince, like, what?
Look at that. Like, that is like Mortal Kombat level CGI.
Yeah. And it's still, I mean, like, gosh darn it, like, I still can't.
That's CGI out of Spawn.
Oh boy, that's the opposite of high praise. That's really, goodness gracious. But because still that's the most challenging thing to do is put a real person next and have it interacting with this CG thing and make it convincing. The only thing I think they've ever done it is King Kong.
Boy,
yeah,
right?
King Kong is amazing.
Ugh.
I love that film.
I love that.
That
movie.
is my favorite Peter Jackson film.
Me too. Hell yeah, dude.
Rock and roll. I haven't seen Heavenly Creatures.
It's crazy how it got overlooked in terms of his canon or his filmography, because it makes me cry every time. I just keep it on in the background because I love the world he built there.
Score is great. Everything's great.
Score's great. It is so beautiful to watch. Jack Black's great in it, which I didn't anticipate. I love Jack Black.
Yeah.
I just in that role, I was like. Yeah. I was really worried going in. I was like, what is he going to do with this? And I love Jack Black. Yeah. But I was like, is he going to Jack Black this up?
Yeah.
And he did great.
He did great, except for the last...
It was perfect casting.
Yeah. And then the last thing was like, no. It wasn't the airplane. It was beauty killed the beast.
Yeah.
I don't know. But but no, he was great.
Have you seen him in Noah Baumbach's movies with opposite Nicole?
It's great.
Fantastic.
Great. I have a poster for that movie. I like that so much. It's very great. But I much rather the old school graphics and effects, even though they're awful. Absolutely. Film history. I totally agree. Mr. Blitz. But looking at them side by side, I go, well, that does look awesome. That does look cool. So I'm just saying it's not like maybe a controversial opinion, but like a lot of the stuff that they changed, I'm like, yeah, sure. Rock and roll.
Sure.
Not now. Do we need to touch Star Wars? No. But what you put those things side by side and I go, well, objectively, that's cool looking, and I'm glad it's in there. That's cool. I mean, I'm glad that I see why you did it.
I think the big thing for me was he held off because you can get the originals now, right?
Can you?
I don't know. Can you get the original movies?
I think they're still hard to find.
Like on Blu-ray.
I think they're still really hard to find, but maybe not.
Because
like,
if that's still the case,
people would eat
really
them up.
up.
Yeah,
that's really messed up.
It does suck
because the fact that he's not offering the option, that's where I take issue.
Yeah, not any recent release of the theatrical.
That's
cuts.
a bummer, man.
You were okay. It wasn't Lucy's to like try to hide exactly. I don't think they've ever been released in modern. I think so. They did re-release. That's what I thought, but not in great quality. Yeah.
So that means I have the special editions at home.
Theatrical cuts from the early 2000s. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the other thing is like, and Disney should just, if they haven't, like what is
more money, guys.
What's gonna make more money than that, for crying out loud? Goodness gracious.
People will buy that.
Yeah. Baseball. People
are those the ones where someone went back, took the Blu-rays, and then took out all the special effect and like reconfigured them to the original edits?
So the originals are gone. There's no way.
No, that's just Lucas.
But maybe so. I don't know.
Being Lucas, he's like, look, I'm too focused on these Tuscany Airmen movies or whatever the fuck.
Tuskegee Airmen.
Tuskegee. What is it called?
It's the Tuskegee Airmen.
Whatever.
It's a big part of.
It's not a good movie.
Okay, was it Red Wings?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not good. I forgot he directed that.
I don't know. I was just making a joke.
Oh, okay.
Took it way
No,
too literally.
well, I'm just like,
that was actually historical. And actually a really important thing.
Was a big
I'm like,
part
yeah,
of
Brian, I get it. It's not trying to.
Okay.
Not a racist, right?
Okay. That's what I'm just trying to. Yeah. Sure.
You get it. You love Red Wings.
I've never seen it. Is it? Yeah. Is it the Tuskegee Airmen though? Seriously, I didn't know. I didn't know it was about that.
That was like the one thing he came out of like semi-retirement and be like, I'm gonna. But he didn't direct it. I don't think.
I thought he did. No, maybe he produced it.
I don't think he directed it.
That's what the remasters the started to reference despecialization. Maybe they're lying dormant in a salt mine somewhere, waiting to be awoken. Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Hey man, clearly touched a nerve.
Yeah, I didn't know. I just. Okay.
Yikes!
All right. Well, hey.
Red Tails.
Red Tails.
Red Tails. Woo woo.
Do.
40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
40% on Rotten Tomatoes. Red Tails. Woo! Everyone, Rotten Tomatoes is racist.
Directors George Lucas. What?
Yeah, I thought so.
George Lucas, Anthony Hemingway. I don't even know who that is.
Oh, what?
What has he done?
Got a Primetime Emmy
He's mostly
nomination.
So the Red Tails was his first feature.
Unsolved director Anthony Hemingway.
Oh, that had Cuba in it?
Yeah. Oh, Terrence Howard.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Everybody watch
Whatever.
Red Tails. Maybe they'll yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know.
So, should we talk about what we're going to be doing in the month of December?
That is what I want to talk about right now. So first, but guys,
Nobody watched Red Tails yet.
So we are putting this essentially to bed for the time being. We will come back and watch movies that are relevant to that time period. But this is the closing of our initial introduction and examination of the New Hollywood movement, which is one of the great artistic movements
It's my favorite era of filmmaking,
Absolutely.
hands down, no question.
Absolutely. And it's just, I think it's one of the great artistic revolutions in the history of mankind.
I agree.
I'm going to go ahead and say that.
I agree. And we're gonna we hit a lot of them.
Yeah.
But there's more that we could
tons
absolutely do. So
And I wanna do-
much more.
Yeah. And
So-
some really, truly great ones. Truly great ones. Now,
Yeah.
oopsie, poodles. The future of filmography. We are
Blitz.
not done being cynical. Well, hey, rock and roll, man. New Hollywood is greater
I
than the
love
Renaissance.
talking level-headed conversation with someone about Star Wars.
Sure.
And I appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So moving forward with filmography, we are going to a pay-per-view format. No, sorry. No, we're going to open it up and we're going to this is really, I'm really excited about
Me too.
all of this. The future.
The future. December coming up. It's
December.
Gonna be,
I'm especially excited for what we're doing immediately next.
Yeah.
So
Me
excited.
too.
We went like after one filmography, we went down. We were just talking and just talking about stuff and throwing out ideas and being like, what do we want to do after whatever. And then it just turned into like a beautiful mind, and we were just like scribbling and going like, yes, yeah. And then we were like, should we do a beautiful mind? And that was it. No, we just wrote and blah blah blah. And I've still got the piece of paper somewhere, and we're kind of going to, in some way, maybe not every week or every month or whatever, but we're going to move to as much as we can, or at least for the beginning, we're going to move to a kind of a thematic structure where. Instead of just willy-nilly picking movies, which we might still do sometimes, kind of pick a theme for the month or for the next two movies or whatever. But really, for a while, we're thinking for the month. And then pick films from any walk of life or any time or any country or anything. And the list and eventual future. Sure, I can think of some ways that we could squeeze that in.
I grew up on American Beauty. I would actually love to talk about American Beauty, because that was a highly influential. I had a very deep emotional response to that movie growing up.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of afraid to watch it again because I'm worried if it's gonna hold up or not. Because it seems like the further I get away from it, it's gonna be a product of its time type thing. That'd be an interesting one to revisit.
It'd be an interesting one to talk about. I'm not a fan of American Beauty.
A lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
A lot of people find it trite and pretentious.
Sure.
And I was so young growing, I was young enough, and I was a teenager, and I was like, oh, that's responding to all my emotions and things. Yeah. But I'd be curious to see if it holds up. Yeah.
I think I don't know why I lumped these two. That'd be an interesting pair to do. I'd like to do American Beauty with Pleasantville.
Ooh, just tackle suburbia.
Yeah.
That'd be
we should
cool.
do suburbia. Yeah, Adventures in Suburbia. We can do the Burbs. We could do.
Ooh.
That's weird.
We just came on a new
month. So
Adventures in Suburbia.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh, Pleasantville's great. I love Pleasantville.
It's great.
So great. Gosh.
It's Gary Ross, right? I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is.
Wow.
Which is crazy because
he did Secretary and all the horse movies.
Yeah, and
he's a former jockey.
He did Seabiscuit. He is a former jockey.
I think so.
Gary Ross?
I think so.
No, I saw Gary Ross at South by one year. That's a tall man. There's no way that guy is a jockey.
Maybe I got mistaken. Maybe I'm
Gary Ross is 6'3".
All right. Well, okay. I'll still check it. We have not done Psycho. No, we've not done any Hitchcock. Oh, we haven't done Hitchcock.
We'll do a Hitchcock month.
Hitchcock month. We'll do 6 Hitchcock month. Better than Suburban Commando. Yeah. So we're gonna be doing these things for instance, we talked about surveillance films, movies about surveillance. I mean, just cop dramas through the ages, war movies through the. I mean, this is I'm really excited about a lot of the possibilities coming up because there's so much possibility.
And we're gonna do 90s action movies and 80s action movies and blah 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 blah.
Oh, I love that. I really love that. Kids on Bikes horror. I love that.
Oh yeah.
That's a great name for it. Super 8, Stranger Things,
Stand By Me,
The Goonies to some extent, E.T. almost to some extent. I mean, it's all very Spielbergian. These are all things that are very, very heavily influenced by Spielberg. Super 8, Stranger Things.
Yeah. To a T.
Yeah, and then the others are essentially Spielberg. I mean, The Goonies isn't Spielberg, but he produced it.
Is,
yeah. Gosh, Richard Donner. Richard Donner is that guy who you go oh yeah, I know Richard Donner, and you go, no, I don't know Richard Donner. Yeah. I just constantly forget that he did The Omen, and The Goonies, and because you're just Lethal Weapon and Superman, but it's oh man, he's just crazy, man.
Yeah, Lethal fucking Weapon.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon. It's another Christmas one. Here's the deal. So for the next, so perhaps somewhat predictably, as we were coming up on December, we are going to do a holiday theme, but we are going to do alternative Christmas movies and essentially tackle the question, what makes a Christmas movie? And what makes a Christmas movie? And what is this one the Christmas movie? Do you like this one? It's all over. See you guys later. Ruined it. I ruined it. It's holiday. So it's interesting you say that, Eisen, because we're gonna start. So the 4 films that we've chosen, we talked about, and I am okay. So Die Hard, we will end with. Die Hard, we will end with.
We will at the end of the month.
Yeah, and so we will end with an epic showdown, throwdown, knockdown, drag out debate, or maybe not, about whether Die Hard is in truth a Christmas movie. And we'll do that with each of these. So before that, we will be doing Eyes Wide Shut, which I'm really excited about. That movie's great.
I love Eyes Wide Shut.
Gosh, it's great. It's
love it.
It's crazy to say, but that's
It's people are I remember that people kind of having a lackluster reaction, being well, it's nice that he finished it. It's not his best.
Fantastic.
And I'm no, he went out on an incredible high note.
It's one of his best.
It's one of his best movies.
It's
up there.
It might be
it's
my
hard.
Favorite. It might be my favorite.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy just because its catalog is so
because it's
impressive.
Kubrick.
But Eyes Wide Shut, I mean, I don't blame you because it has an allure to it.
I mean, it's hard to say that because he's just got such gigantic.
I know. But his allure.
And I haven't seen some of them.
It's certainly one that I've revisited a lot.
Yeah, I love it.
But then I've revisited almost his movies are just so fun to. You can study the shit, even stuff where people are Barry Lyndon's slow. I'm but you can watch the fuck out of that movie.
I've not seen Barry Lyndon.
I'll have to do it.
I've not seen the entirety of Clockwork Orange. I've seen enough of Clockwork Orange to get. I know, but yeah, and I know. Kubrick is another like we do Hitchcock, we do Kubrick. Have you not seen Kung Pao? Because you're doing Kung Pao so well right now.
Oh, really?
So great. There's just there's an old kung fu master who's
and he just keeps going.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we're gonna do Eyes Wide Shut.
And then before that, I don't know why I'm going backward. I thought it needed, initially I was like, this is a good idea because then I'll end on what we're starting, but I should have done the other way. But anyway.
That's fine.
So Die Hard last, Eyes Wide Shut before that, Batman
Returns.
And then next, I am so excited and Jeff hasn't seen it. We're doing Joe Dante's Christmas classic,
Gremlins. Boom!
which is a film that is so near and dear to my heart, not in any small part due to the fact that it terrified me when I first saw it. And it also, as we spoke about last time, hand in hand with Temple of Doom, led to the PG-13 rating that we all know and love. I don't know.
I'm so pumped to see it.
So, the Santa Claus, sure, those are fine too. Well, but Santa Claus is probably a more traditional Christmas film, right?
Yeah,
So
we're not doing Santa Claus. We're not going to do It's a Wonderful Life. We're not.
We almost did Home Alone.
Almost did Home Alone, but we were like, it's too much of a Christmas staple.
But it's so great.
Christmas Story. Like, these are all fantastic movies. We want to try to do some things. Like, I've never seen Gremlins.
Oh.
And we just wanted to do a couple of different things. Yeah.
Gremlins, Batman Returns, which just weirdly feels like a Christmas movie, but is it at all? I don't know. But it's people, it's one that, and Eyes Wide Shut, and then Die Hard. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is it? Is it? Is it? Can't do Gremlins without Trolls 2. I don't think that's true, but hey, there we go. No Home Alone. I love Home Alone. Gosh, we should just talk about Home Alone every single time that we do, because Home Alone's so freaking great.
That's why I bought it today, because I love Home Alone.
Yeah, that's why I already owned it.
Oh.
Dang.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I don't own Home Alone 2, though.
Do you own them on Blu-ray?
No, I don't.
Well, then shut. Because it's basically like I'm watching the films in my living room.
It's like I'm standing there. And I'm going, yeah, you are like a disease, Kevin. Someone is going to have to barf it all up.
You know what we need to do one day is Rookie of the Year. Oh, funky butt lovin'.
Did you just say funky butt lovin'? Jeez, Henry, you could play for the Mets. The Cubs. You could pitch for the Cubs. Mets. Boy, I screwed that up.
Yeah, and it had Nolte. Not wow.
Daniel Stern?
I would love to see Nick Nolte in that role.
Hey, kid. Funky butt lovin'.
It had.
You can't, Nolte. You can't say that. I'm sorry. We got to change the script. Your voice with that just doesn't work.
It had Gary Busey before he went off the reservation.
That's true. Where you are? Funky butt lovin', yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they were allowed to say funky butt lovin'.
It's such a because that was one of those Disney movies I just had in my collection, so I watched it a lot. And
is it Disney? Is it Disney as well as Angels in the Outfield? Yeah.
It has the Disney jewel case, like the
clamshell.
The clamshell, yeah.
Clamshell.
But it's such a specific, like, that thing stuck in my brain.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just been a part of my vernacular for.
Yeah, what a weird, because
years.
The premise clearly is like, let's make a movie about a kid who gets to pitch for a major league team. You're like, cool. How do we get that? I'm sure they went through, like, he gets an injection of something radioactive. He gets whatever. He just falls and breaks his arm, and when it heals, or as it heals, he can throw 90-mile-an-hour fastballs.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because they were like, well, I don't know if people are going to buy that. And then they were like, here's the deal. We're going to put a little wind-up noise whenever he moves his arm. Yeah. And people are going to love it.
I love the. And it's
a great movie.
Yeah. And then that kid was in American Pie.
That's right.
That's all we needed. And then he played Disney. He played Walt Disney
in like an independent movie about Walt Disney.
About Walt Disney.
That looked like a Drunk History episode. Oh, you know. I didn't even mean that as like it did though.
Oh my gosh, that's the greatest burn I've ever heard. That's hilarious. Walt before Mickey, yeah. I haven't seen it.
It had that look though. It's like if you don't have a budget to do like a time period piece,
oh my gosh,
you shouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Fucking wrecked. I said facking, by the way. Still is biopic that had Olin Rogers playing Walt. Right, dude. Disney's story is like
It's pretty
unbelievably
crazy,
inspiring. Like we went to Disney World or whatever, and I came back and like read a bunch of stuff and like looked at all the they have these great whatever displays you can where you can go in and like read about his life and blah blah blah. And I kind of read up on him, and I don't know. I've never been one to be like that person's my hero, but like Disney is like, oh dang, like Disney is I mean, he's just
Yeah.
Like I almost feel like I can't say, like I'd have to do something creative on like a 300th scale of what he did in order to say he's my hero, because then you're like, well, Disney's your hero, what are you doing? But like, you know what I mean?
I think
like,
he's a hero to a lot of people. Like,
but he's just like, I mean, he just again, sort of just the time. Oh man, just going to Disney World and walking around and being like, every inch of this is.
Well, you told me kind of
with
some
so
of his
much love.
backstory,
It's
but
amazing.
but
The
in addition to
perseverance.
that, like,
Yeah.
I mean, Fantasia was the second movie they made,
That's crazy.
animated movie they made,
Yeah.
and that thing to this day, I'm like, that is some
Unbelievable.
bold ass filmmaking,
And it's incredible.
it's incredible.
It's incredible. And like, you know, people were like, oh well, he, you know, whatever, he like he didn't even, you know, he didn't draw Fantasia. Like, what did he really do? But he is the heart and the soul and the spirit and the engine of that thing. And it was he who was like, we're gonna bring live animals in and we're gonna study them. And if you, because my daughter loves watching sequences from Bambi. And Bambi, you watch Bambi and you go,
stunning. And
doesn't make it's. That's why I'm saying like Star Wars and Disney are on the same, because you watch Star Wars and go, oh my gosh, and you watch Bambi and go, how?
But it has this,
how on earth?
and yet it has this melancholy
gosh.
artistry to
Yeah.
it, where you're just moving through the snow, and like they came up with all these techniques to make the panes move with the glass moving back and forth.
He invented that camera, the multiplane camera.
The multiplane camera.
It just kind of, yes.
Have you seen that video that explains it?
Where it's like that scene where it's
Yeah,
like
it's so
like a house
cool.
and it, yeah, it's
because
great.
you understand how they do those camera moves to get
incredible.
to move through a forest to reveal a house in the background. It's
Oh,
so cool.
we got to do Disney. We got to do a Disney sequence.
Ah!
A Disney series, like maybe an ongoing one. Because some
What's
of
your
these
favorite
dudes,
Disney movie? Aladdin.
Aladdin.
Mine's Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, but I mean, like
But Bambi, like,
you go back and watch Bambi, like that
He's
on the
fucking-
ice, like that deer just goes out on the ice like, and then go, and then like
Yeah.
watching it, I go, Bambi is why I feel like I have in my head an idea of how deer move.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I saw a deer and it was not doing what Bambi was doing, I'd be like, that deer is wrong.
yeah,
That deer's not moving
Yeah,
like a deer.
right.
Watch Bambi, deer. Well, don't watch Bambi because it'll really screw you up, deer.
Have
But-
you seen?
But like Sleeping
Sleeping
Beauty,
Beauty?
Sleeping Beauty is it. Like Sleeping Beauty has always been the one where I'm like, that is so beautiful. I can't even. It's so
And, like,
exact and perfect, and that whole everything from that era. And but Bambi just blew my mind with this with the animal stuff. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just like, so I bought Sleeping Beauty on Blu-ray before it came out of the vaults.
Yeah.
So like it was expensive,
Yeah.
and like I had to track it down.
Yeah.
And I managed to find it on eBay, and I got it for a normal price. I didn't have to, because like people are charging like hundreds of dollars for it. And I was like, well, and I found one guy selling it for like $40, so I bought it. And I watched it, and I was like, the story's a little dry.
Yeah.
But they are doing like, what is it? What is the scope? Because it's a bananas like aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Because on like a widescreen television, it's like
Really?
this.
That's crazy.
And it's formatted
Yeah.
appropriately, like nothing's squished or anything. And it is one of the most beautiful things
It
I've
really is.
ever. I watch it all the time just to have it on because
Yeah.
it's so. The story's okay, but like the animation is brilliant.
It truly. That's really funny because that's the one that I always keyed in on as well. Like I
Yeah.
love Aladdin, but I'm like, and
There's so much,
and the animation
so wide.
changed styles obviously.
Yeah.
Even
It's
and,
very
like,
formal. Like
yeah,
it's a very formal
yeah,
animation.
But it's also like you see it get more cartoony and stuff, and you're like, man, yeah, cool. Like this, I dig where you're going, but like it gets more angular and more exaggerated and whatever and stylized, and you go, cool. I kind of think it's because you guys can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
because you
right.
look at stuff and you're just like, and it's so the stuff that's done before computers. You're like, how?
I know.
How does it turn to get something to turn in 3-dimensional space and look the same?
I know.
I mean,
It's like it is breathtaking to watch.
Very unique illustrated storybook aesthetic. That's exactly what it is. Absolutely. It definitely makes it different from the other. Yeah, I agree. It's the most gorgeous Western animated film. I can't disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, gosh, it's just the... And then the fact, it just ends with, like, who's a better Disney villain than Maleficent? I mean, she's amazing.
Yeah,
And she's amazing. Her character design. And then she turns into an effing dragon.
I know.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I do want to revisit. Is Bambi out of the vault right now? Is that something I can? I just like I have.
I don't know.
I keep harping on Blu-ray, but like it is crazy to watch those movies on Blu-ray. I watched Beauty and the Beast for the first time. And like, if you have if you watch that on Blu-ray on your TV downstairs, like you would be, it is insane. It's insane. Yeah. Like it looks beyond. Like they do so much. They put so much care into those, and it looks like you are watching the movie, not only for the first time, but like, it has all the craft, and it's not but they cleaned it up, and it's just gorgeous and sumptuous and amazing, and it's like you can jump into the screen. It's so cool.
I feel like, man, like. Part of me, this is like I'm really excited about opening up filmography and do more stuff, but like I'm almost like, dang it, I wish, because part of me wants to go like, yeah, we have a theme every month, and then we watch one Disney movie every month until we go all the way through the catalog or something, which would be amazing. But then it just kind of like, we'll just have to watch one every once in a while.
Yeah,
or something.
I think we'll just have to do one-offs every once in a while.
Because I would love to like chronologically go through Disney. Goodness gracious.
Oh, sorry, Diamond Disc. Cool. I'm gonna get it. Because I just remember, like, I mean, the whole fire sequence at the end of the film when Bambi's growing up. Yeah. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I haven't seen Bambi in a long time. I'm very, like, excited to revisit that movie.
Yeah.
Because just seeing some clips of it, like, in like, the snow and just, like,
it's just
and the music, that beautiful, deep, like, Deer Hunter hymn music, like, during, like, some sad sequences or... particularly the winter stuff, where it just has that.
Yeah. Better get a tissue box too before you rewatch it. Yeah. I was gonna make a terrible joke.
I know.
Nice. Yeah.
Look, I play a lot of Buck Hunter. All right. So I'm conditioned.
It's some good stuff. Gosh darn it. Yeah, we have Little Mermaid on Blu-ray.
Oh man, Little Mermaid's so good.
Man,
that's Kelsey's favorite.
Yeah, and I understand that. Like I'm kind of like, because Jasmine is the best Disney princess, 100%.
Why?
100%.
Why do you say that?
Because she is, man.
Is it because she makes you feel things, or?
I mean, they all.
They all make me feel things.
Mulan, you. Man, when someone calls you that word as a noun, you know they're mad. I love it. Over the Garden Wall, yes, Sir Blitz. I've been hearing more and more about that. I definitely need to check that out. But it's like hard to argue against Ariel. Goodness, I mean Ariel is just because Ariel captured the hearts of literally everyone in the country, and then reinvigorated. Like Disney was not going to do animation anymore. They were going to like close the animation division, and then Little Mermaid hit, and they're like, never mind. It is. I mean, can you imagine that?
What's
Disney just not doing animation? It's ridiculous.
Who is?
Ron Clements and John Musker, who directed it, but then Howard Ashman and Alan Menken wrote the music. Yeah. I mean, and Ashman is. Oh,
and they were behind Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, and Aladdin.
I mean, good heavens.
Oh, not Ashman, not Aladdin. Ashman is the guy, because Ashman they were the Menken would write the music and Ashman would write the lyrics. Mm-hmm. And they were just an incredible team. But Ashman had HIV and passed away. And it was
I heard that.
So oh my gosh, and
there's this what a true loss.
Oh my god, and he's just a legend. And there's stuff on the Little Mermaid Blu-ray of like they were talking about how he was just more. They were like he was way more than like he would write he was in there and he was just showing the animators how he was like no, and he was like and then Sebastian is like and he's like and it's just
well I mean that's how pivotal. Like you can't underestimate, like, yeah, that music informed that animation.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, because the
Absolutely.
music comes first and then you animate to it. And, like, I mean, it's why when he passed, like, you lost something in subsequent movies. Like, you genuinely saw, frankly, a drop off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blitz, I love 2D animation. I mean, 3D animation has gotten to the point where it is now truly beautiful, and I cannot deny that. Like, at first I was very like, whatever, like, I was like, no, fine, it's 3D and looks cool, but like, you don't have the character. You can't. By the time you watch Mulan and you're like, they've got it. They can give a 3D animated character literally as much humanity and whatever as you can a 2D character. It's there.
There's 3D in Mulan?
Not Mulan, sorry, Moana.
Oh, yeah.
Moana.
Yeah.
You watch Moana, yeah.
I mean,
they are there. But 2D animation is just a different thing that I love.
It's a completely different thing. It's a different art form, and the fact that they had to choose is what's so disappointing
and ridiculous. It's absurd. They shouldn't have to. I mean, like, why can't we have both? And it's Princess Frog was like the last salvo of the, like, it was like it was Luke going into the corridors trying to, where's he
going?
He's going to the thing. He's gonna shoot him. He's gonna shoot in the thing. He's gonna shoot in the thing. Gosh darn it. Someone who's in 3D, yeah. Princess Frog. Princess and the Frog just didn't perform well enough for them to keep it up, I guess.
But I mean, like, the writing was on the wall. Like, you can't put it on Princess Frog because it's just like,
no, yeah.
Oh,
it's not. Yeah, it's not like
Disney.
Yeah, it's not a Heaven's Gate situation.
Before Little Mermaid, like, they were having rough go. Like, what is it called? The Dark Ages of Disney, or
like Black Cauldron and which,
Sword
like,
and Stone.
people like don't. Yeah. And like Great Mouse Detective didn't quite do what what they wanted.
Who did Rescuers Down Under? Because that was like
I've never seen either of those films.
I haven't seen Rescuers, but I grew up on Rescuers Down Under, and it is incredible.
Bob Newhart? I think Zsa Zsa Gabor. Not Zsa Zsa Gabor. Ava Gabor. Maybe Zsa. No, yeah. We need to see. The thing is, like, we need to do Disney because what I'm really fascinated to see is not only the ones that I missed from the past, but the ones. Well, they're all from the past, but like the ones that after I stopped paying attention, like Home on the Range. I watched Treasure Planet, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, I've never seen Atlantis. There's like Brother Bear. There are ones that just exist that I'm like, I'll watch that. I've never seen that. Huh? No. You're right. That's it. Have you seen them?
I don't know. You just don't come at me with Brother Bear, and then just assume that I'm gonna jump on board with that.
What is it? This is a drunk history, Brother Bear. Yeah.
What is that? Phil Collins doing the soundtrack for that?
Oh, Tarzan. That's.
Oh yeah, he did do that. I think he did Brother Bear too.
Oh, probably. Sure.
Yeah.
You, my brother bear, we have the same mother bear. So we are brothers, 'cause that makes us brothers by the dictionary definition. That's the Tarzan song with much worse lyrics.
I liked Tarzan.
Home on the Range is awful. It has Roseanne Barr. Arnold. Oh, wait. That means something different now. That's too bad. Treasure Planet. Smiley. Yeah, Treasure is worth a smiley face. Brother Bear is meh at best. Coco is one of the best movies ever, but it just disappoints me a lot. There are talented, amazing too. Coco is good, yeah. Moana is like... I watched Moana, and I guess we watched it a couple times.
I haven't seen it.
It's great. It's really good. It's like...
Is that Pixar?
Good. No, well, I mean, it's Disney Pixar. They're back together and stuff. Or I don't know. I don't even know anymore.
I think that's just Disney.
Maybe, because it was like Disney... and then Pixar, and then Pixar, and then Disney, and then back Disney Pixar, and then also Disney still exists. It's really crazy. Yeah. There's like Disney 3D, and then there's whatever. Lilo and Stitch I could rewatch. It's okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
but freaking,
it kind of ended for me after I think Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Was when it was done.
For me, Lion King was the last one.
Was Lion King after? No, Lion King was 95. Yeah.
Lion King
after Lion King.
Lion King, I watched it and was like. As I was watching, I was like, "This is still great." I can tell I'm aging out of this, though. Like this is the last one I'm gonna watch.
Yeah.
And I never saw Pocahontas. There is a man. I was listening because we have
You can feel the wind. Or...
Paint with All the Colors of the Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that song came on, and I was listening to the lyrics, and I was like, "This is unlike anything. This is unlike Menken and Ashman. This is unlike Tim Rice and whatever." And it's there's there's like because it made me tear up. It's beautiful. It's poetry. It's like and I just Pocahontas. I've never seen it, but it's like because I know it's talking about how you come in, you think you deserve everything or whatever, but it's very beautiful and whatever. And he says because if you walk within the footsteps of a stranger, you'll find things you never knew. And I was like, that's beautiful. That's really great. And then it talks about you can own the earth and still all you own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind. It's beautiful. It's great. It's really great. Please, Jeff, care about the world, care about the earth, and the thing where it's beautiful. It's really great. Then you missed all the sequels.
You're talking to a hardcore flat earther over here, baby. So I don't want to hear about
all right
anything about wind. Or
I don't care about wind.
Hot air.
What did wind do
Sounds
for me?
like some hot air.
Zootopia like the beginning of Zootopia was great. Then it turns into this like weird conspiracy kind of like corruption thing.
Inside Out is, I think,
Inside Out's
the
great.
best Pixar movie ever
Inside
made.
Out. You turn on Inside Out right now. Like we watched it and sobbed, and then like after we had a baby, we turned it on. We just like tried to watch it. Like she had gone to sleep, and we put it on, and like the menu came on, and it just has the like colors, and it just has the music, and I was like, nah, I can't do it. Can't do it.
Inside Out
is
was
amazing.
Next level.
Yeah, and it's to the point where it's like it's one of those things where like the concept is the way the kind of the denouement, the sort of the what they do with the concept by the end, and how it sort of wraps up, kind of the climax, I guess, is such a beautiful metaphor, such a beautiful thing that they're saying.
Oh, I think it's like the first movie they ever made where I'm like, oh, I'm so happy you made this for children. Yeah. I think it's important for children to watch that movie. Yeah. I love all Pixar movies, even Cars. But that's the first one where I was like, oh, that should be required viewing for kids to understand how their emotions work. Yeah. It should be required viewing for adults. Absolutely. So they understand how their emotions work.
It's it's amazing. And Pixar has been a hard sell for me. Like I've always been like gone like cool, solid, and then
they were the ones that brought down 2D.
No, not necessarily. Like you
didn't like Toy Story.
Toy Story is,
and then Toy Story 2 was amazing. Toy Story 3 came out, and it was like it's good.
Yeah, but like I like original better Toy Story, which is the Brave Little Toaster.
Brave Little Toaster is amazing.
So great. But I went to Pixar movies and would be like, it's so great. We got to do that.
We got to do
that we're doing in a sequence in a series on children's movies. Are they for children?
I grew up with that one. But yet I have not seen that. That's one that I must have like lost it, and then I forgot about it. And you just mentioning that right now, I haven't seen that since I was a kid. Yeah. But like that was a pivotal movie for me.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I watched it so many times. I love it so much. The music in that film, do it. Buy one for me too. Go for it. I'm gonna buy it. It's so amazing. I think we may have it. I don't know, but we're gonna do that, and it's gonna be amazing because it's fantastic. But I remember the Pixar movies came out. Every single one of them that I've gone to or that I've seen, I was kind of like, yeah, like solid. You're doing the things that I can see you doing things that are intended to cause reactions in me. And I can see you doing, like, putting things in the right place. It's all clean, all good. Good. And I go, good job. Good, solid job. It doesn't grab me.
It's weird.
Inside Out wrecked me. Mm-hmm. And even stuff that I cried at.
Finding Nemo.
So Finding Nemo is the other one
that's the other like high tier. Pixar
Finding Nemo, definitely made me sob.
Yeah.
But there's still something about it that is like not quite, but it's great. It's freaking great. But
everybody loves The Incredibles.
Incredibles is very
Incredibles are very to me they're very very impressive.
Yeah. It's
But
great. It's an action movie. It's like
yeah.
It's like that's not gonna, even. I mean, they have great stuff. I love stuff like Violet is Invisible. That's a great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
They're more just fun.
Yeah, and it's just, just like that duality where it's like she feels invisible, so she really isn't. That's great. I love it. I love all that stuff. I didn't see Incredibles 2.
It was great.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I teared up in that one just because of how impressive the motorcycle sequence was. I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is the brilliance of animation. Like, it was very good.
But one of them that I missed and didn't see until late, and I came in, like it was on TV one Thanksgiving or Christmas a few years ago, and I hadn't seen it. And I was like, well, it's on, and I watched it. It was at Monsters, Inc., and I was like, oh, gosh.
It's great.
Monsters, Inc. is like, I was like, that might be the first one, because that was before Inside Out, and I was like, that might be the first one that, like, got me and feels like Disney.
It's great.
And I was, I never saw it because I just never was interested in it.
All the swinging door, like the entire idea behind it.
So cool.
And like,
that's great.
And I know it's kind of been done before, but like that whole idea, and then what does she say at the end? Like, okay. She calls him. She has like a pet name for him.
Yeah.
And he walks in and closes the door, and you hear her go, ah, and she says his name, and you're like,
it's really sweet. It's very, very sweet. Real Monsters too. Sure.
Yeah, Real Monsters. Yeah, yeah, Real Monsters. That's what
Little
it is.
Monsters.
Yeah.
We should just do movies. We should do movies with monsters.
Oh yeah.
We should do movies with monster in the title, and we'll do Monsters Inc., Little Monsters, which is insane. Real Monsters, and then Monster with Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
That'll be a great
full
month.
spectrum.
That'll be a great month. It's like this one doesn't have to do. Yeah. Little Monsters for Howie Mandel month, which
that's
is
going to be a rough one to get.
Little
through.
Monsters is insane.
It's insane.
It's the only movie like you know what we should because I feel like that and Drop Dead Fred, which I've never seen.
I've never seen that.
Are movies that like people saw Beetlejuice and were like, do
for
that
sure.
again. And Beetlejuice is like a movie like
it's just like it's a lot of Howie Mandel. Even as a kid, I was like, this guy needs to just calm down a little bit because he's trying to do Beetlejuice. I mean, now as an adult, I'm like, oh, you're just trying to do Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
You're doing Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
We should do like a series on. Gosh, it's weird that there are a couple for Beetlejuice. There's like movies that are just like clear knockoffs, and then see how they not knockoffs, but just like spiritual imitators. But I loved Little Monsters as a kid. I was like, this is crazy. It's crazy. Hand turns into a dog, eats the guy's homework. They pee into his apple juice. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's a mean movie.
It is. They go under the bed and it is. It's scary.
It's just mean. I remember
it's not like that. Like
it just
Nothing
has a
But
vibe.
Trouble. Did we talk about that?
It has that vibe to it.
Yeah, because
it has a Nothing But Trouble vibe.
I would be not at all surprised if the effects people were the same on both of those movies because they feel the same. And like maybe Scrooged. Scrooged is great, but like
Scrooge is great.
But
also,
that affects.
Yeah.
It's just like weird, like scary ass. Like what is that?
Yeah.
Anyway. Bobby's World, yeah.
I love Bobby's World.
I never really watched Bobby's World.
Bobby's World was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but even as a kid, I was like, who's this live action dude with the perm always talking in all these episodes?
Who's this less cool AC Slater?
Yeah.
Sorry, Howie.
We started at night. We started watching Saved by the Bell, season 1. And we were like, wow, that's terrible. Like, we were like, so we got a couple of ironic viewings out of that. And I was like, okay, what else did I grow up watching? And I started watching Home Improvement again.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing. Home Improvement holds up real well.
I would imagine.
Like, as a good-natured, innocent humor with a really realistic, believable family dynamic.
Yeah, and how good
that's loving and caring and and the jokes are really funny.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
How great is Patricia?
She's amazing.
She's great. What's her name?
Patricia Heaton.
Not Heaton. Heaton. She's Ray Romano.
Oh, okay.
Patricia
something.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give her due because
she's
so good at it.
She's so great. I mean, she's just like you just see some actresses who walk on and you go, "That's not an actress. That's a mother."
Yeah,
that's just a mom.
And the way they
interact. Mom to that family. Yeah.
The way her and Tim Allen interact is it's beautiful.
Tam, I wish. Yeah.
Tam.
Yeah. You know what? You know what? Also, like we were talking about this. So there's that, and then like. Because Roseanne opened all that stuff.
Yeah.
Up. Roseanne was a great show.
Yeah.
It really was a great show. And then, but one that I feel like
Patricia Richardson.
I think she's married Maybe not. Maybe. No, Who's married to Bradley Whitford? Is it her? No, I think it
Not her.
Might be Patricia Heaton or Allison Janney.
Let me tell you.
We're all kind of.
No, you're just saying that because she was in West Wing with him.
Oh, okay, that's possible. Is it Patricia Heaton? Who is married to Bradley Whitford? Somebody like that.
Jane. Wait a minute. They divorced.
Oh no. Always makes me really sad when famous people get divorced. Home Improvement is great.
Oh, she was the mom from Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, the other one like that.
Yeah.
It's the same mold of person.
It's almost like Jill Taylor 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. I just,
Anyways, Home Improvement holds up real nice. Been
But
watching it a lot.
But yeah, and like gosh, we should do sitcoms. You remember Grace Under Fire?
Yeah.
It's a great show.
And it's so sad because like that was like a really great show.
It was like Roseanne, but like she was like,
and it really dealt with stuff.
it's
and
great,
like I think she was like a recovering alcoholic in the show.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately,
and I only heard this the other day.
Her it was either pills or her addiction issues. Kind of brought the show to a close again.
Do you remember the Home Improvement episode where Randy or Jonathan Taylor Thomas he had cancer? There was this whole episode.
Yeah.
It was like.
Oh, I'm looking forward to watching that.
There are some episodes of.
I remember when Mark went goth.
Oh, I think that was
late.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember.
It's crazy how in season 1 and 2,
They're children.
They're children, and they are they're great. You can see immediately why Jonathan Taylor Thomas went on to have like a really great career as a kid because he's fantastic.
That kid is amazing. That kid has such a presence and he's so natural. He's just got a great everything. Got a great presence. Got a great voice as a kid. I mean, it's just like that kid.
I'm like, I want that kid to like I don't know, like be a lion.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Be a lion.
Yeah. So we'll create some sort of some way. We'll find a way to make you a lion
prince or like a like a lion king.
Yeah, Jester. I don't know something. He's like okay. But there was like that episode where there was like a cancer scare for Randy.
Yeah.
And then there's the Fresh Prince episode where his dad comes back.
Oh yeah.
Which is
I've seen that.
by far to
some
me,
of the best acting he's ever done.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's his best performance ever.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, it just
raw.
How come he don't? I mean, it's just it tears me apart.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's one of the best things I've ever
and
seen
the
on
way
television.
Uncle Phil played off that in that scene.
Yeah.
Like you
And
have
he
to
just
give
goes,
him
"Come
as
here,
much
son."
credit because like it's the brilliance
I'm
of
gonna cry
acting.
right now.
It's the brilliance of acting because like he knew what was happening and the way he played it was to do nothing and then just receive him.
I'm gonna cry. I'm crying right now.
Great, yeah.
It's amazing. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen on television.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Anyways, Goth Mark is really funny.
Yeah, real funny.
Like they get he starts becoming like a filmmaker and like does short films, and one of his short films is like I think about like killing his parents or something like that, and it's like this weird black and white like scientisty lab, young Frankenstein thing, but played seriously, and he's the lead character in his short film, and they get really worried about him. This is all, I think I'm remembering this correctly, and they get worried about it and they have to talk to him. He's like, no, I love you guys. It's just like, I'm just doing what I do.
Interesting. And it was good? Like it's a good episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't seen it in a while.
You're like, I was 12. Whatever, man. Yeah. Boy, and then, oh gosh. See, we could just do an entire thing like this about the 90s, because it would just be all 90s movies, and then it would be that. All this, and then it would be Animaniacs and Batman the Animated Series,
and a fucking Maniacs,
and Tiny Toons.
Yeah, I grew up on Tiny Toons. I grew up on Animaniacs.
So Animaniacs. So the thing is, like some of the Tiny Toons stuff. Tiny Toons almost had more had more integrity as a show, because it was kind of like, this is what we're doing, and then they would throw in all this sly stuff, and then
interesting. I'll have to revisit it.
Yeah, there's interesting stuff where they would put in these references, and then like because of how popular that was, they were like, well, let's go whole hog with this and do Animaniacs. I've never seen that, because I love Tiny Toons and Animaniacs. People have been like, oh, you need to see it. It's Freakazoid. I've never seen Freakazoid.
I've never seen Freakazoid.
Yeah, Freakazoid's supposed to be great.
Did you ever watch, what was the historical show?
Animaniacs is great, yeah.
There was an Animaniacs, and then there was like one that was kind of based on history.
What? No.
Yeah.
Like within
Does anybody know
Animaniacs?
what I'm talking about? It wasn't Animaniacs, but it was like a history-focused show with all new characters.
Based on the popularity of the Thomas Jefferson candle.
Maybe
There's a little light. There's a short because occasionally Animaniacs would do these things where they'd have like a short, and one of them was like the narrator and main character was this little flame sitting atop the candle by whose light Thomas Jefferson was writing the Declaration of Independence. You find out by the end of it.
Oh, I don't know.
Really,
Let
that's
me look it
pretty
up.
pretty incredible. It's like Rob
But
Paulson.
that's curious to know about.
Oh, I'm gonna follow Rob Paulson on Twitter because he's awesome. Hysteria. That sounds probably like it was Hysteria.
TV show. Hold on.
Oh yeah, that was definitely an Animaniacs short. Yeah, I loved it. At a university
hold
is so
on.
it's serious. Thank you, Ken Coldblood. It's true. It was at the Acme Luniversity. Acme Luniversity. I still remember an episode of Animaniacs where I can't even really remember the premise, but I think like they were going around telling the funniest joke ever or something, and every time people would hear it, milk would just cascade out of their noses. And I remember watching that with my brother and being on the floor, laughing so hard because they would just like hear the joke and they'd go ha 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 ha, and it would, oh my gosh, which is a high school. Yeah, you're right, Ken Coldblood. That's a really good point. It is Acme University, but it was played exactly as a high school. What? Oh, and dinosaurs? We could do dinosaurs.
I never. Oh, I did watch a little bit of dinosaurs. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, you didn't? Oh, interesting.
Uh,
The Simpsons we do a whole show on The Simpsons.
when are they gonna release Simpsons to stream? Like,
Oh, I don't
what's a
know.
guy got to do to get some early season Simpsons?
Yeah. Simpsons is
Because I missed all. My
I think
parents
that-
wouldn't let me watch Simpsons, so I had to.
we had a time of that as well.
I had to sneak
Yeah.
like after school. There was like a 30-minute window before my mom got home because it came on at like 5, I think, and my mom got home at like 5:30. So I could watch like a little bit, but I was always nervous about watching it.
Yeah.
So I never really got to appreciate it. And then by the time I could watch it, or they allowed me to watch it, it was kind of past its prime, as it were. So like, because everybody talks about like those first like 4 or 5
4 or
seasons.
5 seasons, yeah.
And
They're
I
great.
want to do a deep dive onto those.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got several of those seasons.
You do?
Yeah, you just take them home with you.
Okay.
I don't watch them nearly enough.
Okay.
Simpsons is Simpsons is the greatest American television show, I think.
I want to believe. I think you're. I want to say that you're. I want to agree with you.
Yeah.
But I want to watch them.
Yeah. I'll specifically. I mean, you can take them. You can take the whole. Deal.
Let me take like just.
I'm gonna give you the
one.
right season. Well, okay.
Well,
season 1 is really early. What you want is season 4. There's one that has like the monorail episode. I think it has like, gosh darn it, has because the greatest Simpsons episode, like the monorail episode,
What's the James Bond one where it's
Scorpio, where he works for a Bond villain,
and like they come down like in fucking I think Thunderball. Where
Maybe.
they're like coming.
I don't
he's
even
inside the volcano. I think.
Yes, yeah. And I don't know that I really remember. I don't know that I've ever seen all of that one.
I
But
remember
maybe I have.
really liking that one.
My favorite one. Oh gosh, it's hard because there's that. There's like a. Oh gosh, there's like the Krusty cancellation special. There's like Krusty
What's a
Camp Krusty. There's Sideshow Bob. Those
Sideshow
are
Bob.
amazing.
Which seasons are those? Like
They're all throughout.
Yeah,
They just
okay.
did forever. But the Cape Fear one is the
Yeah.
best one, or at least of the ones that I've seen. There's the softball episode. I love that episode. There's the softball. I love that episode so much. Gosh, there's so many great episodes. Streetcar Named Desire, or Streetcar Named Marge is what it's called. Oh my goodness. Conan wrote a lot of the best episodes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hank Scorpio, season 7. Cape Fear, I love it. Cape Fear is amazing. Cape Fear is incredible.
I loved when they brought on Sideshow Bob's
Niles.
brother.
Yeah,
Niles.
that's so great. Yeah. I just love. I just think because he's under the car like in Cape Fear and then they're driving. He's like, who wants to go through the through that cactus patch? And they go, I do. No. And he's like, well, like 5 against 6, 5 against 1 or something. That's like you're like there's one more person that and they just go good. And then it has like one of the greatest sequences that gave birth to one of the worst tendencies in like Family Guy perhaps.
The cutaway?
Well, no, it's the I don't know if they did. Yeah, kind of, but like Family Guy, yeah. But just there's a sequence where Sideshow Bob he's like, ugh, and he like gets out and he's like covered in brambles or covered in cactus, and he takes a step and goes, and thwacks himself with a rake, and he goes, and then takes it and thwack, and he took 3 times, and then it zooms out, and they're just nothing but rakes, and it goes for a little bit, and you go, ha ha ha, ah ha ha ha. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
And then it goes just long enough for you to go,
like,
gosh, now it's funnier than ever.
Yeah, right.
And it's just like, but then,
I wonder how long that took them to get that right.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so great. And I love, oh gosh, I just love, because then they're in the movie theater and he's like, you know, like De Niro, and he's like, ah, ha, 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 ah, ha. And they go, excuse me, and whatever. And he's like, he comes over and he's like, because that's also Die Bart Die. And they go like, excuse me, don't you have tattoos on your hands that say Die Bart Die? And he goes, oh no, that's German for the Bart, the. And they go, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, anyone who speaks German can't be bad. And it's just so great. And
how long is Sideshow Bob gonna hold? Hold his knee and say, ow.
Right. That's the thing. That's the thing. There's so many things you're just kind of like, can you do this?
I enjoyed Family Guy.
Sure.
And then I've watched a recent one. And I'm like, oh, it's just not. I don't know if it's me or what, but I didn't laugh.
And I have to be.
I don't hold myself in high regard when it comes to comedy. I'm like, if I laugh at it, then I find it funny, and that's just what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I laugh at it. Yeah, I haven't seen Family Guy since, gosh, probably like the 3rd or 4th season or whatever. Yeah. But and this is where I have to like, you know, have some integrity, because back then when I was talking about how people go into Star Wars, you know, movies, you know, not open to them, I definitely went into Family Guy going like, you're not The Simpsons. Right. And I definitely have not been open enough to Family Guy, but
I owned season 1 on DVD. Yeah. It was one of those things we had like in my brother and I's
we have a couple,
when
I think,
first moved down here. Mm-hmm. And so we just watched those 4 discs over and over.
And there's some great stuff.
Yeah, because there really before streaming and stuff. Yeah. And like, it's legit. There are some great. Almost all of them are like, it's a great season of comedy. Yeah. It's really funny.
There's some great stuff. Brad Bird helped design. Yes, Brad Bird was like a director on. Yeah, absolutely. So many people have been through The Simpsons. It's amazing. But and I'll say, Simpsons again, I think is the greatest American television show of all time.
Dead or alive,
but maybe one of like the hardest, if not one of the hardest moments I've ever laughed at in television, if that makes sense, or if not the hardest, is in the first episode of Family Guy when the Kool-Aid Man burst through that wall, and I just went, what? Like I just went, and laughed for like probably a minute straight.
I've had some real hard chuckles.
Red Law 911, thank you for the follow.
Is it the one where he does the creep back out, where he's like,
because
that's the joke.
Because he's like, you've been. They go like,
oh no.
They go, you've been. Yeah, they go, you've been sentenced to whatever, or in prison. And they go, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh yeah. And they all go, and he just goes, and it's great.
It's just a great joke.
It's great.
That's a great joke.
Yeah. Hank Hill for Cleveland show. Oh no.
Dude, and that's a bummer, yeah.
And that is an maybe not underappreciated. I think a lot of people love it. King of the Hill is one where I was always like, and I think I've said this before. King of the Hill is one, and again, I always in my head I was like, King of the Hill, I don't want to watch King of the Hill. And then I would watch it and go, I just would laugh. It's just amazing.
It's one of those ones that I'm like, I want to revisit that one now that I'm older to get it. Yeah. Because like, I mean, all these shows, you're just like, oh, these are things that I can probably skip because it's animation, which is the worst way to view it. But you're a kid, so you know, you're just like, oh, it's just gonna be fun and stupid or whatever. And then you get older and you're like, no, those shows were like highly intellectual humor.
It was an animation humor renaissance. The Simpsons if you watch The Simpsons, if you watch the entirety of The Simpsons, if you take a person in a control experiment and make them watch The Simpsons, they will be, just by osmosis and by learning how comedy works from The Simpsons, they will be like 20% funnier as a human being. Like,
Dude,
if they just
I need to get funnier.
If they just take, yeah, sure.
Give me some of them in DVDs.
Yeah. I think the same thing about David Letterman.
God, Letterman. So I kind of grew up on Letterman, but I mainly missed out on him because Conan came in almost immediately, and so I grew up on Conan. And when Conan got the Tonight Show, I was really happy for him because I knew he wanted it. Like, I obsessed over, like, I was a Conan. I watched Conan religiously. And then he got it, and I was really happy for him. But, like, because he moved to that time slot, I was like, he had to dumb it down a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, this isn't you. Yeah. And then all that bullshit happened, and I thought Leno, he should have just walked away. And I was so sad that he left. But now that he's on TBS, I'm like, yeah, you had to go through that to find your spot because you belong there.
Yeah. Conan was I loved Letterman. Conan was like the kind of new guard.
That.
But even before Conan, or maybe around the same time, they had the Jon Stewart show. I loved the Jon Stewart show. That was some good stuff. I liked that a lot. And he was just kind of like off in the corner. And there were a lot of people kind of. Greg Kinnear had it. Was doing Talk Soup and stuff.
That's right.
And then,
which is so weird.
Yeah, but everyone in animation right now has been influenced Simpsons in some way. Absolutely. I mean, I'm from what I gather,
Simpsons did it.
Yeah, and South Park is.
I'll agree with you. South Park, like I really do think Matt and Trey Park, like
South Park is amazing.
It's amazing, and it continues to be amazing, and
in terms of quality, absolutely.
Quality and their ability to turn an episode around in a week keeps it so fresh and timely to what's going on in the moment. Yeah. And it's so sharp all the time. Like, it's crazy. They are actual geniuses.
They are geniuses. Yeah, not exactly.
They really are.
Totally. I totally agree with that. I just think that I think that but I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd go Simpsons because of
no one's gonna blame you for that.
Just because of the it is inspiringly great. Like, it's like art. South Park is fantastic comedy. South Park is fantastic satire. Like, stripped down to its barest. Like, they're just like, this is boom, 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 and they simplify it in a way that is, you just can't argue with it, and it's just great. They're brilliant. They're geniuses at that. At just getting to the elements of humor and the elements of comedy and the elements of satire. Like, great satire. Mm-hmm. It might be the greatest, like, pure satire. The Simpsons is a work of art. The Simpsons is art. I mean, South Park is art as well. The Simpsons has satire, but also, like, it is like, so it's not like when you say idiot geniuses, I don't, like, they're not idiots at all, but and I know you don't mean that, but, like, there is that. But then The Simpsons is also so literate and inspires you to be the same, and it is avant-garde and just trailblazing. I mean, it gets the credit for just, like, literally blazing that trail and paving the way for the other things that came after it. But also, it's just, my gosh, it is. There are times when it is a symphony. I mean, the jokes. And then they literally have a symphony playing just these, because I have CDs of the music and stuff that was written for the songs, and I saw those things when I was a kid, and I was like, who wants the music from The Simpsons? And then I put it in, and it's just like watching the episodes. It's just hilarious. It's so great. It's so great. Like, they're just, and the characters are so rich and they keep that integrity. There's so many great jokes. There's the, like. Yeah, there's just, like, this great misdirection style that they have, where it's like there's one where there's a lemon tree, and the Shelbyville and Springfield are warring over it, and they move it or whatever. And then he's like, and they're looking for the tree, and he's like, we're never going to find it. We're never going to find it. Oh my gosh. This whole thing is as pointless as that stupid lemon-shaped rock over there. Wait a minute. There's a lemon behind that rock. And it's just like, gosh darn it. Like, they're just masters at going, bump, and it just nails it. I mean, it's so great. And then, like, even this is not by no means the greatest joke of all time, but it's just such a they have this sweetness to them as well that they don't compromise, but it is still. There's a part where they're watching a musical based on the Betty Ford Center, and it's a bunch of whatever. It's a bunch of,
I think I've seen.
I'm checking in.
And I'm like, oh, I've actually seen a lot of these.
I'm checking in. Yeah. And there's just this moment. I don't know why this, but it was something that I was listening to these CDs, and they have just lines before and after the song sometimes, and it's just this great. Like it starts and Marge and Lisa are in the audience. She says something, and she goes, and Marge goes, when I was a girl, I always dreamed of being in a Broadway audience. And it's just the sweetest, like, little tiny, like, you go, oh, what a simple, and how perfect for Marge.
Yeah.
She's just this little simple, and what a sweet, charming, but it's hilarious, because it's just so great. Like, I love you, Dr. Zayas. Oh, my gosh, and the voice acting. I mean, the people that went through there, Phil Hartman, Harry Shearer, Hank freaking Azaria. Back him away, guys. Oh, my goodness gracious.
All right, cool. You sold me on it.
It's great.
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I guess I'll watch it. I don't know.
All right. I don't know. Yeah, maybe The Simpsons. I don't know. All right.
Gremlins next week.
Gremlins next week, guys. And I'm so freaking excited for that. I can't even tell you. It's
gonna be good.
1:30 in the morning.
Too.
Dang it! There was a time when I looked down and it was 11:47 when I went to the bathroom, and I was like, "Man, we're gonna be out of here by noon, by midnight." And then
we started talking about other things.
Stuff happened. Okay, so that we say good night to the
Star
new
Wars
Hollywood.
is cool. If you haven't seen Star Wars,
check out
it.
Star Wars. Gremlins, it certainly is. Can't freaking wait. Joe Dante, gosh, and that opens up. I mean, I think it's going to be a really fun month. We're going to watch a lot of fun movies. Batman Returns, gosh darn it.
Batman Returns is so badass.
Yeah. And I'm so excited to watch Eyes Wide Shut again. Yeah. And then we get to finish off with Die Hard.
Yeah.
With freaking Die Hard.
Yeah.
Man. All right, guys.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
See you next week.
We'll see you next week, and we will we'll go Raiderino. Whoosh. Raiderino. We'll go get Miss Bad Example. Let's go get Miss Bad Example. Thank you as always to Jeff. We'll be back next month, guys. Next week. Absolutely. Thanks, Just Razor. Lots and lots and lots of love. Go give her a hey, what's up from me. Wish her a good stream. And we'll see you next week, guys. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of freaking love.